Ghana Talks Radio, #1.
This is Ghana Talks Breakfast Show, your morning companion. This is Ghana Talks Breakfast Show, your morning companion.
Good morning to you. It's a blissful Thursday morning, and you are welcome to the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show right here on Ghana Talks Radio. This is your favorite online radio station, and we are streaming live on Facebook at Ghana Talks Radio, on YouTube at Ghana Talks Radio, and also on X at Ghana Talks Radio. Do well to log on, send in your comments, and let's get interactive right here on the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. Good morning to you once again. I am Esther Namfiagbedu, and I'll be serving you breakfast this morning with Miss Regina Bless and Miss Debbie Adoso. This morning, we are bringing you the news review. Good morning to you, ladies, and you are welcome to the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show.
Good morning.
Hope all is well.
By grace.
We thank God. There's a lot going on, but we are going to be looking at a few news items this morning. For our first story, put Mohammed's mandate first, not presidential ambitions. Gbandi warns NDC members. The Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Mustafa Gbandi, has warned party members against focusing on future presidential ambitions too early. He says members of the party should concentrate on helping President John Dramani Mahama succeed instead of thinking about who may become the next flag bearer. According to Mr. Gbandi, the government is only about 15 months in office, and discussions about future leadership contests could distract the administration from delivering on its promises to Ghanaians. He stressed that NDC's current priorities should be governance, job creation, improving living conditions, and delivering on campaign promises. Mr. Gbandi warned that early political maneuvering and personal ambitions could create divisions within the party and weaken public confidence in the government. He stated that no individual should place personal ambitions above the interests of the party. His comments come amid speculation about possible future leadership ambitions involving senior NDC figures such as Johnson Esiedu Nketia and Julius Deborah. However, Mr. Gbandi insists that discussions about successions should not become the focus at this stage. He also called on the party's Council of Elders to help maintain discipline and unite with members of the NDC and also bring unity into the NDC party. So, in a nutshell, what he's saying is that we shouldn't focus or be paying attention to the speculation that Johnson Esiedu Nketia or Julius Deborah is actually vying for the position to be the next flag bearer of the NDC. He's also urging members of the party to focus on helping President John Dramani Mahama to deliver on his promise and also deliver to the people what he has promised in his manifesto. Ms. Regina, your thoughts on this, please.
So, I would say it's a very good thing on the aspect of Gbandi, Mustafa Gbandi. So I'll say it's a very good thing because at the end of the day, if they want either of these people to be elected as flag bearer, he or she, they would announce to the people that, oh, this is what is going on. We either want Esiedu Nketia or Julius Deborah to be president. And also, I think the people themselves, especially Esiedu Nketia, is giving, should I say, a signal to the people, because I don't really understand why he's going on a tour. a thank you to for what exactly? So probably that is also giving or sending us a signal that he's vying to be in that position. And also with him saying that they should put Mahama's mandate first, I think it's a very good thing, because Mahama has a lot to achieve and he's yet to achieve it, and the little that they are doing is not enough. So they need all hands on deck to make sure that at the end of the day everyone comes together and exercise their mandate. They need to help President John Dramani Mahama. This is a collective responsibility. He's not the only one who can do it. So I think it is the right call and it's the right thing for him to say that they should put Mahama's mandate first. And so at the end of the day, anyone who would be elected as flag bearer would be announced. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned that Johnson Esiedu Nketia is sort of giving hints of him wanting to vie for the flag bearer, but he happens to be the national chairman. Is it wrong for him to go for a thank you talk? Or have you heard any speech of his that actually make it sound as if he wants to occupy that position?
No.
You don't have any reason as Miss Debbie? What about you?
That
Is he giving any hints, or is it wrong for the national chairman to go for a thank you talk?
it's not wrong. It's not wrong. I think going for a thank you tour simply to him, it's most often the goal, according to him, is to unite the grassroots of the party. So when he goes on this thank you tour, he preach more on unity. So that is what I see. But in a way, I feel like it's also a way of selling himself, because thank you to us at this time, I feel like it's not quite.
You think he should have done it?
It's not quite necessary. President Mahama has become the president for almost 1.5 years now.
So there's no need to thank the people.
There is what are you thanking them for again? You've already thanked them enough.
But did you also hear that there's been a sort of complaint from the grassroots members that after winning power, they are not even regarding them? Don't you think maybe that is why he decided to team it as thank you to go to the people to speak?
Well, I haven't heard anything of that sort though. But then I feel like it's not bad. I also see it as a strategy to keep the grassroots, because when you keep going to them, they feel involved. They feel not being left out. So in a way, you are including them. No, you're not only going on a thank you tour, because even now after you are done talking on their purpose, your purpose for coming there, you end up also receiving the challenges they are going through. They put it before you that this is what we are going through, this is what we want you to do for me. So at the end of the day, it's a give and take. You are appreciating them for still maintaining or holding the NDC power, because every party, if you see a party succeeding, it is based on the grassroots. Those are the top. They are doing it, but they are not doing it all. It is the grassroots that do the work the more. I feel like they do all the dirty works, and then we get to see it at the top. So if he goes there, in a way, he's trying to tell them that you are still with us. We've not neglected you. So for me, it comes in two folds. And the first fold has to do with he, in a way, telling them that they are not being neglected. And the second fold has to do with I'm announcing myself. I'm still here. As a chairman, I'm not sleeping. I'm doing my work. So it is part. So if in case, or by the way, he one day wakes up and then feel like I want to stand for a position, in a way, he has already sold himself enough. And don't forget, even if he doesn't go on a thank you talk, I said Nketia is known worldwide. He doesn't talk. You don't see him on social media, on conversations talking. But when he speaks, you know how far it goes. So it should tell you that he is still relevant. He's still relevant.
But do you think that it's too early for the NDC to be, talking about who is going to replace President John Dramani Mahama as the flag bearer?
For now, it's not the NDC talking, it's Musa Dankwa talking.
Okay, because he's the one bringing up all
exactly.
These.
The more reason why I'm saying this was Mustafa had an interview with Bernard Avle, and then he was being interviewed on these things, and he was like, it's kind of bringing division in the party. From the onset, I foresaw this. Because if you are bringing out analysts, that data and everything, forcing is leading Julius Deborah. What's the name? I said Ketia is leading the two. What are you trying to do? In a way, you are causing division. You are trying to shift the attention from the main focus. So the intended purpose is to help President Mahama achieve his purpose of becoming a president. For me, it is too early, because as it stands now, they promise a lot. They are yet to fulfill 90% of them. So if you start early like this, info analytics and all that, in a way you might say it's not having an impact, but tell me, SNL, it will definitely have an impact on you. Imagine you are vying for a position, and then all of a sudden they brought out a notice that they did a survey, and then 99 of the people are saying that they are backing Regina. How will you feel? Then let me just back out, because we've not even started yet, and then 99% are vying for Regina. Then there is no need. So in a way, it brings this kind of clustered mindset and all that. So for me, I feel like they shouldn't even start it. It is not necessary at all. They should just focus. They are doing the right thing, but the main thing is they still have a long way to go. Because if you look at their promises, they have about 90% of them to complete. And if you want to pay attention of who will take over after President Mahama, you will end up failing. You fail woefully. After President Mahama is done, immediately his term ends, they will definitely get someone to replace him. So for now, it is not needed.
Right. Miss Regina, what time do you think will be right enough for the NDC to start talking about who is going to replace President John Dramani Mahama?
Okay. I want to give a scenario. So it's just like a rich man, a rich man having acquired all his properties and everything, and so this is the time where I would have to announce someone my successor, or especially if they are nearing their retirement. That is where they come out to elect someone who will take over the company. So I feel like it can be the last year of his administration. But
would that be enough time for them to sell that?
Oh, it is enough time.
The person has already sold.
Do you know that person?
No, it's not even about selling himself. I believe that whoever wants to be the flag bearer is already doing something that the people have already seen. So let's say Esiedu Nketia, or probably maybe John Dumelo. We've already seen what John Dumelo is doing, so it wouldn't take much of a time to elect him as a flag bearer. So I think the last year of his administration, where he has almost completed most of his projects, is the best time. But if they start now, no,
it's a big distraction.
And let me add some to what she said. It is not only going to be based on who is coming, but also the work of the former president. That is, if President Mahama is no longer in power, they will look at what he has done, plus the person they are bringing on board, then they'll vote for you. But if you end up distorting or distracting the president, and then he's not able to do whatever he's supposed to do, it will go against the next flag bearer. So they should just focus on the important things first.
Allow the president to work. Let's proceed. RTI Commission says legislative instruments needed to expand law to more private bodies. The Right to Information RTI Commission says Ghana's RTI law cannot fully cover some private institutions until an LI is passed. This means some private organizations that should fall under the law are currently not fully captured because the detailed rules needed to enforce it have not been completed. The head of legal at the Right to Information Commission, Stephen Owusu, explains that work on the LI has been ongoing for years. He said the LI is important because it will clearly define relevant private bodies that should be required to provide information under the law. According to him, these bodies may include organizations that receive public funds, perform public functions, and deal directly with public in ways that affect public interest. He added that until the LI is passed, the full scope of the law cannot take effect for these institutions. The RTI law currently allows citizens to request information from public institutions and in some cases private organizations that receive public resources or carry out public duties. Because of the delay in the LI, the Commission says it has been using broader interpretations of the law to promote transparency where possible. Mr. Owusu stressed that the goal is not to interfere in private businesses, but to ensure accountability wherever public resources or public interests are involved. The RTI Act was passed in 2019 after many years of advocacy by civil society groups and media organizations pushing for greater government transparency. So RTI is an act that was passed in 2019, and this allows you to request for information in any public institution and in sometimes private institution that have a relation with public duties or public resources. But now they're advocating that they want to extend it to the private institutions as well. So as a private entity, if I am someone that I'm curious about something and I want to know more about that company, all I have to do is under the act, I'm going to request for an RTI, take it to that organization and to seek for the information that I want. Mr. Owusu said this is not to poke their noses into the businesses of the private entity, but to promote transparency and accountability. Ms. Debbie.
For me, it's good because there are some infos that sometimes you need so badly pertaining whatever you are dealing with. So let me just cite an example. Maybe with our field of work, and there is a pop-up info that is regarding a private institution or something, and then you need that info so badly. So imagine whatever you are doing has to do with underground investigation or something, and then that private institution's name pop out. You will need to acquire or get more info from that office so that you can get your facts right, because I cannot just stand up and then post anything out there regarding that institution to go against me. If I don't get the evidence to back my claims, I'll end up like a bronye. So as simple, I need to get my info and everything on point. And so I think this right to info, so in a way it's they want to extend it right to the private institution. So there has to be an ally where I can get that to access my info. Because if that is not being done, it will make it difficult. And I can boldly tell you that a lot of infos are being hidden from us because we are being limited. You don't even have access to those kind of info because the law is not giving you that kind of mandate to do so. And as I said, it's quite limited. So if this is being passed right, it will help. It will help a lot to get the needed info that you want. I can't remember some time ago we wanted an info from a particular company and they said they won't give it to us. They won't give it to us. They asked us, why do we need that info? And then we told them. So they asked us what shows we needed. A lot of baby, I'm not gonna say what we wanted the info for, we didn't get it again. So imagine as at then this LI has been passed. It would have been so easy because you don't need to. This is not the time for you to go and explain 10 paragraphs to get whatever you want. Immediately you present it, they know that this is for a right purpose, and then you get your info. Because I'm not sure you just go there and they'll give the info to you. You have to state your reason why you need it. Maybe that info is confidential, so you will need that LI to get it, and also for them to have that trust in you that whatsoever you're taking that info for is for the right purpose, not for your own personal gain. So for me, it's good.
It's good. Miss Regina?
So I think it's a good thing, especially if that private company, as stated, has a connection with the government. So probably a private construction company that has been given or that has been added to the big push agenda. For that, it is very necessary for them to provide information. maybe how much was given, how did the work go, because it's taxpayers' money and we would need information. So basically, since that private institution has a connection with the government, with taxpayers' money, it is very necessary for them to provide information. But it would be very difficult if it is just a private institution on its own, which doesn't have any affiliation with the government or taxpayers' money. But I think aside that, they need to provide information.
They need to provide information. Teacher trainee allowances wasteful. Funds can employ 400 teachers annually. The executive director of African Education Watch, EduWatch, Kofi Asare, says the current teacher trainee allowance policy is not an efficient use of public funds. He argues that the money used to pay trainee allowances could instead be used to hire more teachers for Ghana schools. According to him, government spent about 203 million Ghana cedis in 2025 on teacher trainee allowances. He says this amount alone could employ around 400 teachers annually if it were redirected into salaries instead of allowances. Mr. Sari also criticized similar allowances paid to nursing trainees, which he estimates cost about 500 million Ghana cedis each year. He believes Ghana should rethink long-standing education spending policies that consume large budgets but may not deliver the best results for the system. EduWatch is also calling for changes in how teachers are recruited. Instead of automatic recruitment after training, he suggests a demand-driven system where schools advertise specific vacancies. Teachers apply for those specific positions. Recruitment is based on actual staff and needs in districts. He says this approach is used in countries like the UK and Canada, where teachers are hired for specific schools rather than being posted randomly. Mr. Sari believes the current system increases government spending, creates inefficiencies in teacher placement, and does not always match teachers to where they are most needed. He argues that a more targeted recruitment system would improve efficiency and help close staffing gaps in schools across the country. So overall, EduWatch's position is that Ghana should balance financial support for trainees with long-term employment planning to ensure education spending directly improves teaching quality and staffing levels. So in actual sense, what EduWatch is saying is that the teacher trainee allowance should be scrapped, or better still, we should also find a demand-driven system where teachers can be recruited, but teachers shouldn't be posted randomly. A company has to advertise, or a school has to advertise for the kind of teachers they want, the subjects those teachers can actually teach, and teachers should be allowed to apply just as every graduate does, but not for the government to be posting them. So this is what he's urging. In his words, he says the allowance is wasteful. Miss Regina, is the allowance wasteful? Because we are all graduates, we are all going to school. How different is a teacher trainee allowance from you being in a university? A university student is not paid, but a teacher is paid for going to school.
So when it comes to the allowance, I wouldn't necessarily call it wasteful, but it only becomes wasteful when it's given to people who already have the resources. So for my opinion, I think looking at the allowances, it should target only needy students, or probably convert part of it into student loans, where at least at the end of the day, say, oh, that money would be received or would be taken back. And also looking at the issue on ground, why is it that only nurses and teachers are the ones receiving allowances, and most of these universities are not receiving that? For that, I would say questions for the gods, because it's only the government that can answer that. But for everything to balance really well. As I said, they need to make sure that they target only the needy students or turn it into a student loan. And also, the main reason why most of the people would have issues with this is because we still lack qualified teachers, we still lack some necessary infrastructures, and also teacher quality, buying learning materials, improving school infrastructure, and employing more teachers. Whilst that money is being channeled into allowances, I don't know if they can take part of it to solve most of the problems, or better still, cancel it kwata. Yeah.
Miss Debbie, should it be cancelled?
Yes, it should be. If you look at the main reason why this allowance was being introduced in the first place, was because most of the students finds it so difficult to cater for themselves while in school, and then some of the students they are their own parents. Okay, they feed for themselves, they pay their own fees and all that. So the government was like to make, and you see, then it wasn't so attractive. So they wanted to make the teaching and the nursing so attractive, and so they introduced the loan, the alawa, and then in 2013 it was scrapped, and it became a whole lot of issue, and then they reintroduced it in 2017. So for me, I feel like it should be scrapped because the reasons being given is quite reasonable. They want to, as Regina said, channel the money into building more facilities, school infrastructures and all that, so that at the end of the day, when you are done, you will get something to do. It's quite okay. Because if you take the university and the training college, I see no difference. The only thing is that when at the university, you are your own boss. No one dictates for you what to do. You know this is the time you are supposed to go to lectures. You know this is the time you are supposed to learn. But the trainee, they treat them like senior high school students. You go for lunch. There is a time where you go for lunch. Exactly. There is a time where you go for preps to study. You are being controlled by the teachers. In fact, you have no say. But the university is not like that. You are on your own. So that is the only difference. Aside that, university, don't you feed? When I was in the hostel, I feed on my own. No one feeds me. I cook my own food. But at the training, they feed you just like the way they do to the senior high school student. That is what they do. And if you look at this money, I think every year they say 400 million is being disbursed to this teaching schools, and then 5 million is being disbursed to the nursing training colleges. So if you add these monies together, it could be used for something else. They're not going to use it in other sectors. It is in that same sector. If today we have enough hospitals and then you are done, won't you be employed? You'll be happy. If we have enough schools, won't you be employed? You'll be happy. That is it. The only problem is after it is being scrapped and then we don't see the essence of it, that is when we can hold them accountable that this is what you said, what is happening. So for me, the alawa there is not that necessary, because even with this alawa, you will be paid once in school. If you complete and you are not getting job, wahala. Even if you get job and then you are calling for increment and they don't give it, wahala. But you are in school and you are being paid. But university is not like that. Over 4 years, if you can't pray, you won't get it. So for me, I feel like, yeah, a lot of people might not agree with us, but it should be scrapped.
What about the reforms he proposed that teachers should be allowed to apply, but the government shouldn't post them? Because if I finish university, I don't wait for the government to. But how different is the teacher training from the university?
There is no difference.
Right.
The only difference was that first the teacher training offer only diploma courses. So when you are done, you have to use that certificate to enroll yourself in the university to get a degree course. But now the training colleges are even offering degree course. I think they started it before Akufo-Addo even left power. So first, if you are going to training college, they know it is diploma. It is diploma certificate you have. Then after training college, you further to the university, then you get your degree certificate. But as it stands now, all training colleges are offering degree. If you go to a training college, it's no longer a diploma certificate. It is a degree certificate. So it is equally the same thing. there is no difference. It is because we have people who are in the university, they are offering diploma courses, and that same courses that are being taught them, it is that same courses that are being taught those who are offering the diploma courses in the training colleges. So it's equally the same. And one of the this thing is that the more reason why a lot of people want to enroll themselves in the diploma is because after you are done, you get employed early than someone from the university. And so a lot of people go through that process, then they are working and then they are topping up. So by the time I'm done, you just have to increase my salary, that is all. So people prefer doing that a lot than going to the university. But now it's equally the same, degree in training, degree in the university. So they should apply, because I will finish and I have to present my CV, write application letter, go to offices to look for job. But you, that is the advantage they have. Na government now post first post your mountain, but now I feel like it's because of the population, so you don't get posted. Because I remember some time back, a colleague of mine, she did a top up. She's a nurse and then she did a top up, and I was like, won't you submit your application? She said, we don't do anything like application. They'll just give you a code and then you tap in it, and then when the time comes, wherever they post you go. There's nothing like application. I was like, oh, already. So if that happens, if this is what they want to do, even if they don't do it now, a time will come. Training teachers or training nurses will no longer be posted by government. You will have to apply, because you see payroll no side there. So when you apply, you go through the right procedures. When you are deemed fit, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Teacher training allowance. We'll be looking more into that in the second segment. So make sure you stay with us and hear what our guests have to say on that particular topic. But before we go, there was a statement by Bawumia yesterday, ex-vice president. Democracy and free speech under siege in Ghana.
I know they will come out.
Former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia has launched a scathing attack on the National Democratic Congress government, accusing it of systematically undermining free speech and intimidating members of the New Patriotic Party. In a strongly worded statement released yesterday, Dr. Bawumia expressed deep concern over what he described as the relentless harassment, arrest, and detention of NPP officials, activists, and supporters since the NDC assumed office on January 7, 2025. I have observed with great concern the endless assault on fundamental rights of officers, activists, and supporters of the NPP across the country by the NDC government, he stated. To support his claim, Bawumia cited recent high-profile cases, including the arrest of social media activist David Asando and the remand of NPP Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, also known as Abronye DC, as examples of what he described as political persecution. He further condemned what he called an unholy collaboration between the executive, state security agencies, and some members of the judiciary. These actions undermine free speech and are setting Ghana's democracy backwards. I condemn in the strongest terms the unholy collaboration between the executive, state investigative agencies, and some elements within the judiciary to use intimidation and harassment to silence members of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia declared. The New Patriotic Party flag bearer issued a stern warning to those involved and urged party members to remain steadfast. I, therefore, serve notice to officers of the state who are active participants in this unholy enterprise that the day of accountability will come and the abuse of state power will be accounted for. He also called on party supporters to remain resolute. To patriots around the country, I urge you all to stay firm by refusing to succumb to intimidation while continuing your civic duty to hold the government accountable to its promises. We fought hard for this democracy, and as a party, we cannot surrender it to intimidation from those who possess temporary power today, Bawumia stated. the day of accountability, he says, will come and they will account for it. Miss Gina, this is from Baumia. He said the governments with investigative agencies are harassing the new Patriotic Party members, social media commentators, and also activists.
Can I be blunt?
Be blunt, but be nice with your words.
So when it comes to Dr. Baumia, I don't really know. Okay, so leadership entails a lot. And leadership does not cover up wrongdoings. Leadership does not, excuse me to say, entertain nonsense behavior. If your subordinates are being disrespectful, are being insultive, are, how would I put it, are causing chaos, you are the right person to make sure that you put them to order. So let's use Abronye DC for example. With what Abronye DC is doing, just yesterday he was remanded for 2 weeks because of the ongoing investigations into allegations of misinformation and offensive public statements. Sometimes the moment these people come out to talk, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that you call them to order. But one thing I've realized when it comes to these politicians, especially the leaders, is they rather
encourage
it, they cajole them, just more crocrom, they pamper them, which is very wrong. I remember, was it? Oh, I don't know if it's Fancy Comedy or one other person like that also did certain things he was not supposed to do. Fancy. And either Afenyo Makin or one of these people, Baumia, went to bail him out and even invited him to his home. Fine. Inviting him to your home, there's nothing wrong with that, but did you caution him? Did you discipline him? That is what a leader is supposed to do. Say, akwala ya adia, bona ya bono, ya tiano, yonkunu, yenchano. But you have to discipline these people. So the only reason why they are lamenting, they are ranting this back and forth is because of the government, not NPP, not NDC, but rather the government. I always say that when it comes to the government, it is not for NPP, it is not for NDC. And this IOCO, Ghana Police Service, and all the right personnel that are the law enforcers are not for any of these parties. They are working independently. So let's say I'm an NPP communicator, and I come out publicly to say that, excuse me, Mahama is this, Mahama has committed murder, Mahama has done this, Mahama has done that. Because I'm an NPP communicator, they should let me go. I'm supposed to be taken on. The same way if I'm an NDC communicator, I would be taken on. And this is not abuse of power, but rather democracy is speaking. Because the fact that you have democracy doesn't mean that you should say things you're not supposed to say, especially causing fear and panic and saying, using harsh words on certain people. See, a lot of people are outside who sit on their social media and say a lot of things. The main reason why they are not arrested is because they are not in the country. So don't think that because such people are doing that, you also have the free will or the free mandate to do that. So Dr. Baumia, I don't really understand his statement by saying that democracy is under threat, and also with the statement that he said that now a time would come where power would be accounted for.
So that does that mean that when he also comes into power, it's going to be payback time?
My sister, when it comes to the NDC, when it comes to the NPP, that is what they all do. They are all waiting for their time, for them to come into power and also show their power. So we are waiting for them.
We are waiting for them. Ms. Debbie? Are you also waiting for them?
Well, let's see what they have for us when they come into power. For me, I don't see what he's saying. I see no relevance in whatever he's saying. No one is intimidating anyone. When you do the right thing, nobody will come for you. If you do the wrong thing, be rest assured, eyes are watching you. Sometimes you post videos and then you feel like no one is watching. You have no idea the number of people are watching, who they are. You don't even know. So you just need to be careful. But then when you feel like, well, I have the power, I have everything it takes, so I can speak my mind and whatever it is. When the time comes, you'll be there alone to account on every word spoken by you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Debbie. As Miss Regina said, we are waiting for them. Let's see how it's going to be in their tenure. Maybe they come 2028. Thank you so much for joining us on the news review. Up next, we have Today in History with Miss Regina Bliss.
Bringing you today in history and some global observances live on GhanaTalks breakfast show. Early smallpox vaccine is tested. English physician Edward Jenner tested the first smallpox vaccine by inoculating 8-year-old James Phipps with cowpox matter taken from milkmaid Sarah Nelms. Based on observations that milkmaids exposed to cowpox were immune to smallpox, this experiment proved that cowpox provided protection against the deadlier virus. 2 trains crash in Japan, killing more than 40. 1991, a head-on collision between 2 diesel trains in Shigarika, Japan killed 42 people and injured over 400, marking one of the nation's major rail disasters. The accident occurred on the Shigariki-Kojin Railway, causing significant casualties in a single tragic incident. 1999, President Clinton apologizes to Chinese leader for embassy bombing. U.S. President Bill Clinton finally spoke with Chinese President Jiang Zemin to apologize for the NATO bombing of the Chinese embassy in Belgrade, which occurred 6 days earlier on May 7th, killing 3 people. Clinton termed the incident a tragic accident caused by faulty intelligence, following days of refused calls by Jiang. To some global observances, National Decency Day, to promote a basic standard of civility in everyday conversations and actions, emphasizing the golden rule of treating others as you wish to be treated. It serves as a reminder to act with honesty, compassion, and respect, especially in an age of social media where at times decency is neglected. Next, Online Romance Day, to recognize finding and nurturing love through the internet, including dating apps, social media, and instant messaging. It celebrates modern digital-first relationships ranging from initial meet-cute to long-distance connections. So as you are celebrating Online Romance Day, we also urge you all to be very careful. Lastly, Ascension Day, to commemorate the Christian belief that Jesus Christ ascended into heaven 40 days after his resurrection, marking the end of his earthly ministry and his exaltation to the right hand of God. It signifies Jesus' divine authority, the promise of his return, and the preparation for the coming of the Holy Spirit. And that's all for today on Today in History and some global observances live on Ghana Talks Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much, Miss Regina Bless, for Today in History and some observances of the day. So today, take the chance to date someone online. On the app.
I'll date my phone.
Up next, you have Debbie's Girl.
Welcome to Debbie's Grow, where we talk about issues that matter to the state, void of politics, fear, or favor. The Bono Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party, Kwame Baford, popularly known as Abronya DC, has been remanded for 2 weeks as investigations continue into allegations of misinformation and offensive public statement. The outspoken politician was rearrested on May 13th, just weeks after he had earlier been granted bail in connection with the same issue. Abronya was first arrested on April 13th following allegations of offensive conduct, false publication of statements considered to incite fear and panic among members of the public. He was subsequently granted bail pending further investigations. Authorities have now taken him back into custody as security agencies intensify investigations into the allegations against him. Meanwhile, officials are yet to provide full details surrounding the latest arrest, but sources close to the investigation said the case is part of broader effort by security agencies to curb the spread of alleged false information and inflammatory public commentary considered capable of undermining public peace. Authorities have also not disclosed whether fresh charges are expected to be filed against the New Patriotic Party regional chair. So, the MPP Bono regional chair, Abronya, was rearrested yesterday. And that is because he made a statement which is termed to be false. And this is not the first time Abronya is being taken by a security personnel just because they want him to clarify matters. This has been consistent for some number of time. And then the most funny aspect is anytime they are being picked up, there will be a press release. And the only thing they say is that our people are being attacked because they are speaking their mind. Mind you, everybody has the right to say whatever you want to say, but be rest assured that whatever you are putting out there, you have evidence backing your claim. Now let me tell you something. There is difference between boldness and foolishly ranting. Boldness says that it says what is happening, where is happening, who made it happen, and here is the proof. So if I sit here and I'm saying something, if authorities should call me right now, oh, that we saw your video on social media and this is what you said concerning this particular person, what proof do you have? I should be able to provide evidence backing my claim. If I made a statement and I'm being taken on and they ask me, so this is what you said, false accusation, where is your evidence? Let me show you. We need evidence here. Excuse me, but it's kind of make me a fool. Because if I'm boldly saying something, I should have evidence backing my claims. Then foolishly ranting has to do with they said, almost say, why say? Oh, they said this. And that is why this person said that. Now, when they tell you to mention the name of that person, and even if they brought that person, what if the person says, I don't know you? What if the person tells them that we've never met before? How are you going to vindicate yourself? Now tell me, having to make a fool out of yourself, and you see, everything is funny in this country. Like, I see certain things kind of funny because everyone is right. All politicians are right. because they tend to make claims. And you see, the more reason why we are not able to hold these people to their words is because even if the person is doing the wrong thing and the person is being taken on, the party in which the person is representing ends up backing them. You know that the statement that this person is making is false. And so what are you saying? Automatically you are preaching to me that I can walk in the footsteps of that person. And that is why of late you go to social media and see what is happening. Everyone at all can just pick a phone and then start insulting public officials, somebody old enough to be your father, somebody old enough to be your grandfather, your brother, whoever it is. And then because it's your data and your phone, you sit and then you insult people anyhow. Because tell me why I'll take my phone, then I start speaking about the president, the family of the president, saying things that do not exist. For what purpose? And then when they come after me, then you see people backing me. This is not the first time Abronya has been picked. This is not the first time. They be a funnel. So they should send a message across. You see, I'm tempted to say something, but let me say it. Do you know something? It's funny, but it is never funny. You might be old in age, but not in year. Okay, you might be old in stature, but the way you speak says everything about you. So you might have a kid, someone you see to be a kid. This one is not old. That is what you will say. But I don't know whether you've listened to some kids talking before. I don't know whether you've seen like a child, okay, a normal child speaking before. You ask yourself, who are your parents? Because the way they speak is like they are from a trained home. You don't even need to ask. The way they conduct themselves, that is a child, though. A child who doesn't know his right from his left even knows how to communicate. And then you meet an adult. You see, when you meet adults, you know that already so like you should speak right. But sometimes you listen to some adults speak and then you ask yourself, like you tend to ask yourself a lot of questions. Because some adults do not behave as adults. They behave as something else. I wouldn't use them with kids because some kids are even intelligent. They are intelligent. Even a child knows when to speak and when to shut up. But some adults do not even know when to speak and when to shut up. They say anything just like that. They say things. They pass informations that are not real. Informations that are false. Just to dent the reputation of someone. They speak without evidence. And this will happen because we are not using anybody as an scapegoat. We don't. And so I can just sit here one day, maybe I'm having some fever, and then I just want to bash some government officials into. Then I'll just put the picture and then I'll start speaking because I'm feverish. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. And because we don't arrest them, we don't make them to face the law. And so they feel like it's normal. Now this is a whole leader. And whatever you do, people watch you from afar. You are a role model to people you have no idea of. You don't even know the number of people who watch you. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea. For me, I wasn't surprised because I know there will be a press release. I know there will definitely be a press release. Oh, you're intimidating us. We can't speak. We can't talk. Just say, they don't come for us. We can't even have, like, it's funny. You are doing the wrong thing here. Before I would say they are intimidating you. Who is intimidating you? No one is stopping you from talking. It is your data. I'm not providing it for you. It's your phone. I didn't buy it for you. But this is what you are saying. Make sure whatever message you are passing across is educative and informing the people. It shouldn't misinform. And that is why we have a lot of politicians. I'm sorry. Maybe any Asefua, whoever. Asefua, let me put it that way. You end up making claims. You see, it is good to learn from people. It is good to imitate people. But for me, for your own credibility, make sure you get your facts and everything right. In case of incasity. So that if something pops up today, you stand for yourself. You'll be shocked to know that even the people who hail you from afar they'll disassociate themselves from you. But when you have your facts and everything in place, even if you come and then you put something across and people are bashing you, you bring your facts out and you tell them, this is it. I'm not wrong, I'm right. It doesn't make sense when you come out with an info and a lot of things and afterwards you come apologizing. 1 year. So what happened? What happened for you researching? What happens when you do the right thing? What is wrong with us? You see, sometimes it's kind of annoying because I believe the right thing should be done. Now, the former vice president has brought out a letter. He said there are people are being, so in a way, that is it, they are being intimidated and they are not given the right to speak. And so whoever comes after, they also do same. For me, no one is intimidating anybody. No one is after anybody. What you need to do is for you to do the right thing. You see, most of these communicators, for me, I don't know. I don't know whether they are being paid to do something or not. But sometimes it's funny because when we listen to you speak, we know that whatever you are speaking, but it's made Juma. So I'll gather info. Because you can listen to somebody talking and then you ask yourself, where do they gather the information? And one happened recently. I don't say they are done by my kind chireno. As I say, a force. It should tell you. So we start using people as an scapegoat. We'll continue to see this. Thank you for making time with me on Debbie's Grill.
Thank you so much, Miss Debbie, for that girl. And thank you too for joining us on the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. We'll be going for the news shortly, and right after the news, we'll be back with the second segment. Please, they can stay with us.
Are you ready to amplify your business or brand's reach and make a meaningful impact in Ghana and beyond? Partner with Ghana Talks Radio today to connect with a diverse audience across Ghana and beyond. Elevate your brand through on-air promotions and social media. Boost your brand during prime time. With Ghana Talks Radio, you can extend your reach across digital platforms. Ghana Talks Radio is not just a station, it is a community hub where your brand becomes part of the conversation. Join us in fostering connections, celebrating culture, and making a lasting impression. For customized sponsorship packages and enquiries, email contact@GhanaTalksRadio.com or call +233 202 544614. Ghana Talks Radio, giving the youth a voice.
What do you want for breakfast? How do you want your breakfast?
English breakfast, French fries.
Koko Nikosi, alo komi kesheto.
Wache.
Well, Gobe is the real deal.
Join us on Ghana Talks Radio. Let's serve you a buffet of breakfast.
From news headlines review, current affairs to social issues.
Entertainment, sports, and all the trending stories live on our mobile app and across all socials from Monday to Friday 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
With me, Pakwesi Omare,
Regina Bless,
Deborah Adoso,
and I am Esinal Fiagbedu. This is Ghana Talks Breakfast Show.
We bring you local news, business news, international, sports, and entertainment news. Right here on GTR.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the morning news bulletin on Ghana Talks Radio. Coming up this morning, the education minister hit back at the opposition, accusing them of inflating Bank of Ghana losses while ignoring recent stability gains in the economy. The Roads and Highways minister is also defending government timeline for the Accra-Kumasi Expressway, calling it deliberate and unachievable. Ghana card applicants are urging urgent government intervention as indefinite National Identification Authority staff
staff strike continues to disrupt services across the country. In employment, labor expert Austin Game is advising trained teachers to diversify into other careers, citing limited capacity for public sector recruitment. 9 Malls has donated 100 water pumps to the National Service Authority to boost its operation. On the business front, cocoa processing company has interdicted 7 staff members following 4.37 million in audit discrepancies. Stay with us for these stories and more across the globe. Minister for Education Haruna Idrisu has criticized the opposition for what he called an exaggeration of the Bank of Ghana's reported 15.6 billion loss, arguing the opposition is overlooking the economic stability achieved under the current administration. Speaking in response to recent analysis of the central bank's finances, he noted that the opposition's fixation on the loss ignored the wider context of the country's economic movement. He maintained that the government's policies had contributed to improved macroeconomic indicators, including currency stability and moderated inflation. This was after the Bank of Ghana recorded 15.6 billion Ghana cedis loss in its 2023 financial statement, attributed largely to the domestic debt exchange program and exchange rate depreciation.
There is ongoing debate now about the Bank of Ghana and losses of Bank of Ghana. The political opposition is at their best to find space to be critical of John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama, your special guest of honor, made a pledge to you that he would stabilize the Ghanaian economy. In all the debate that has gone on, including losses to the Bank of Ghana, I have not seen any of them argue that John Dramani Mahama has not stabilized the economy of Ghana. At least this inflation has been achieved from 54% to 23% through 2023-2024 to 5.4% 2025 to 3% John Dramani Mahama. There is stability in the economy, and therefore the loss of the Bank of Ghana as 15.6 million is the aspiration of John Dramani Mahama that he will see through a Bank of Ghana that achieves stability without losses. But at least momentarily, the opposition must accept the fact that the currency is stable, foreign reserves are high, and inflation is low.
The Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Gavin-Sagboja, has defended the feasibility of the proposed Accra-Kumasi Expressway. His remarks comes in response to concerns raised by the President of Ghana Institute of Architects over the proposed timeline for delivering the project. He questioned whether the schedule was realistic given the skill and technical demands of the expressway. However, in retaliation, the Minister of Roads affirmed government commitment to the project.
Don't forget, even at the time of independence, some people said it was not necessary for Ghana to have independence. When Accra, the Akosombo Dam was about to be built, people said, how many people were in Ghana? We don't need it. Accra Tamamoto Way. So it is always difficult to imagine how to do things that people can't comprehend. Until it's done, some people will not believe that it will be done. Not too long ago, you heard people say that Accra-Kumasi Expressway, the design alone will take 18 months before we start clearing. As you can see, we've cleared more than 20 kilometers already, and we are combining crash programming, the clearing, the studies, and the design and everything, so that we can finish on time. In politics, everything is a choice. You can choose to spend public funds on doing other things. You can choose to do things that matter to people. So yes, it's not going to be easy, and it hasn't been easy since President Mahama took office. But things that we committed ourselves to in the name of the people, we are funding them. Who would have thought that without borrowing, without anything, We have paid 12 billion. We are still paying contractors under the big push. Today, how many people believe that the big push is not realistic when they can see this happening every day? So it is not unusual for people to, and I wish that especially professional bodies, before they speak, I wish they come to the ministry to get exactly what we are trying to do, especially professional bodies related to the built environment, the engineers. In any case, the largest collection of active civil engineers in the country are with the Ministry of Road and Highways. Where else can you find the largest number of active civil engineers or quantity surveyors? It's only the ministry and then the agencies. So if these are the decision makers at the ministry, you can't sit outside and think that you know better than them, because they are also actively involved. In any case, many of the people, including people leading the professional bodies, were not too long ago staff under the ministry or the agency. So I think Ghanaians should just rally around.
Applicants seeking Ghana cards are calling for urgent government intervention after an indefinite strike by staff of the National Identification Authority disrupted operations at several offices nationwide. The industrial action has left many NIA offices closed, halting registration and card allocation services. At the National Identification Authority's Greater Accra Regional Office, some applicants expressed frustration, urging government to engage the striking staff and resolve the impasse promptly.
Very disappointing, coming out of the way from Kasua and to find the office being locked. It's not true. The government has to intervene and at least they should get back to work immediately so that it will help with the movement of the work.
Quite frustrating because considering people coming all the way from far places. I mean, I just met a colleague who's telling me he's coming all the way from Kasua to come for registration and to do this, or even some to recover a damaged Ghana card. And unfortunately, they come in and hear that the airline is on strike, which is quite very frustrating. And I'm able to talk about the issue, whatever they do. They need to work on the conditions of the staff. I think it should be very close. Now, Ghana card has been a very key credential that we use in our country for example. So I believe that we should help to serve this issue. Because the reason we looked at the broader issue of it is that there was a lot of challenges and problems. So I'm appealing that government should come to the aid and get a better conditions. And also to appeal to the NIA to absorb it. They should enforce the decentralization of it. So if someone has any challenge, the person don't have to come all the way from far places just to procure their cards. But then when you have the decentralization, which is well resourced and very effective and efficient, which will be able to cut down the long distance movement.
So your friend in Faustin Akofo Fidels. Me buy say me buy be changes e wo me Ghana cards. But me buy head office no yes on strike. Na hadwe se nkofo beba no ni wo nya adwuma mo strike na be hadwe yes ane ye fi echirichiri ayafa ka ya bedu ha na ese ye ne amati ye besre se bibi wo wa wasa ban ye ma wo no tan ba adwuma back no be ye adwuma de bo o man na ye besra ban ni se won hwe sa de no na continue sort form out no mo bra no mo be ye adwuma na mfa abotre ne asombi.
Labour expert Austin Game has recommended diversification for trained teachers, noting the state's inability to absorb every graduate into public sector roles. According to him, the government's capacity to employ every trained teacher was limited. He noted that diversification into other fields will help graduates secure livelihoods while reducing pressure on public sector recruitment. His comments come amid ongoing discussions on teacher unemployment and the sustainability of public sector hiring in Ghana's education sector.
Teachers are very important in the scheme of our life. All of us were trained by teachers from the foundation level, even up to tertiary level. As we all know, we have a number of people who have been trained as teachers in this country. Not only the mainstream training colleges and higher education, but even Cape Coast and K University and others are training teachers. So therefore, we have surplus. That's the reality. Now, what happened during the Rawlings time was to be a brief thing, because it was a pull factor, to pull people from Nigeria and other areas back to Ghana. That's over. That period is over. We are living in 21st century. We cannot behave as if we are in 17th century. And therefore, it is important for us to appreciate the fact that teachers are not, though they are trained as teachers, they are well balanced to the extent that they can diversify. Many teachers today are lawyers. Many teachers today are accountants. They are other professionals. Therefore, I do not see the reason why they should sit and be suffering and put their hands in their tie and say that unless government employs, the state simply cannot employ you. And let's make it clear. I repeat that from the purely HR point of view, all employers in this country have got their establishment list beyond which they cannot go. That is why this organization called Now TV3, at a point in time, I was involved here, they have to restructure and ensure that the numbers are not beyond what the company can accommodate. To accommodate people and be able to pay them. So we have the likes of you. So in effect, what I'm trying to say is that the establishment list must be cleared. And when we were writing the labor law, we understood clearly that we're going to decouple the labor department and even maybe give it a new name to be known maybe as a Bureau of Labor Statistics, so that they can decentralize employment in the public sector, even to the extent of the private sector. Information will be supplied under Section 6 of the Labour Act, to the extent that we'll have a major pool which will be managed by the then Labour Department, still Labour Department do, should have been called a new name, so that there will be a portal, like I said, in, let's say, Savlugu district. You don't need to come to Tamale even for employment. And if you are in Accra and you are interested in going to Sanarigo, you can go and apply through that portal without struggle. So human factor will be decoupled from.
The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat has presented 100 water pumps to the National Service Authority to support its operations. The donation forms part of NIMO's contribution to strengthening the authority's capacity in water provision and related community services. Officials said the equipment would help improve access to water in areas where the National Service Authority is engaged in deployment and project. Representatives from both institutions attended the handover with the National Service Authority, expressing appreciation for support and noting its relevance to ongoing national service programs.
More than 1,000. And yes, is the program Ministry of Agriculture hospitals need to know how much education Sabiano and away Union National Service Authority for so Omo trauma Ministry of Lands and I'm saying farm and many dame machines no from and we're born in Omodium at the yard papa added to a queer at the Abua in and Tinyana women no chance and now most Najumana Omudino.
We want to extend our warmest gratitude to the Honorable Minister, Honorable Bua, and his deputy, and the entire ministry, and your good self. Yes, we wrote a letter to you requesting that you support us with some pumping machines, because this year we intend to work on 20,000 acres of land for maize alone, and also 10,000 acres for tomato production. And so we all know that with these crops, water is very important. And looking at the distance between where the land is and then where the water body also is, it was imperative that we get as many as possible to support us in irrigation or for irrigation purposes. And so when the idea duly and well brought up by my able deputy director general in charge of operations, Colonel Moses Pengu, and it's definitely a commitment to ensuring that we see to sustainable, agriculture and promote the Feed Ghana agenda.
In business, 7 employees of cocoa processing company have interdicted following audit findings by the Ghana Audit Service, which identified an outstanding and accounted amount of 4,373,355.4 linked to the operations of the Consumer Cooperative Shop. The audit, which examined activities covering the 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025 financial years and completed in March 2026, reportedly uncovered irregularities involving products supplied to the Union Shop located on the company's premises in Tema. According to excerpts of the report cited, the consumer shop operated by workers through their unions had accumulated debt to the company amounting to 4,373,355 as of September 2025 for goods supplied by Consumer Cooperative Shop. The report also indicated that the shop operated rent-free on company premises without paying for utilities during the period under review. The auditors cautioned that failure to recover the receivable could adversely affect the company's financial position. The interdicted staff, including the chair of the Senior Staff Union, chair of the Junior Staff Union, principal account officer, shopkeeper, product research and development manager, and a chief engineer. Information available indicates that 4 of the affected officers served on the Consumer Shop Management Committee, 2 acted as patrons, and 1 served as a shopkeeper responsible for day-to-day operations. Sources within the company said management acted after receiving the audit findings and issued queries to the affected staff to explain the discrepancies identified. Staff were reportedly given the opportunity to respond before the interdiction were imposed. Some of the officers are said to have denied wrongdoing and disputed aspects of the audit findings in their responses. A letter interdicted dated May 11th and signed by the managing director, Professor Williams Kofi, stated that management had reviewed the responses but found there had been no headway in resolving the issue. The letter added that further investigations were necessary to arrive at a conclusive determination in line with the Ghana Audit Service's recommendations for the recovery of the outstanding amount. As part of the directives, affected staff have been instructed to cease all withdrawals from the Consumer Shops Bank and make themselves available for full stock-taking exercise to be jointly conducted by the company's audit. They are also required to submit handing over notes and remain on 2/3 salary pending the outcome of the investigations. The audit service has recommended the immediate recovery of the outstanding receivables and urged consumer cooperative shops to ensure proper accounting for rent, water and electricity. The development has triggered discussions among workers with concerns raised about the scale of the amount involved. Management of Cocoa Processing Company had at the time of filing the report not issued public statements beyond the interdiction letters served to the affected staff. To sports, Ghana sprinters Abdul Rashid and Joseph Paul Amwa have qualified for the men's 100 meters final at the ongoing 24th African Senior Athletic Championship at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium on May 13th. Saminu secured his place in the final after winning Heat 2, while Amwa also impressed by finishing first in Heat 3. However, Ghana's Edwin failed to progress to the final after finishing last in Heat 2, the same heat won by Saminu. The two athletes delivered strong performances in front of the home crowd as Ghana continues to chase medals at the Continental Championship. The men's 100 meters final is expected to be one of the standout events of the competition, with the athlete hoping to make a mark on home soil at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. In showbiz, celebrated Ghanaian musician Efriye has teamed up with international reggae legend Maxi Priest for a new single titled Summer Jam. The song is set for worldwide release on 31st May across all digital streaming platforms. Summer Jam blends Afro soul, reggae, island rhythms and feel-good melodies, bringing together Efriye's rich African musical roots and Maxi Priest's globally celebrated reggae sound to create a record with universal appeal. With infectious rhythms and smooth vocals, Summer Jam is expected to become a favorite for beach outings, road trips, parties and other memorable moments across the world. The collaboration also symbolizes a cultural connection between Africa and the Caribbean, reinforcing the idea that music transcends borders and unites people through shared rhythms and experiences. Efriye, known for his smooth vocals and songwriting, rose to fame as part of the music before embarking on a successful solo career. The British reggae icon has enjoyed decades of international success and remains one of the genre's most influential voices. Summer Jam promises to deliver a refreshing blend of African and Caribbean sound when it officially drops on 31st May 2026. To some global update, President John Dramani Mahama has returned to Ghana after participating in the African Forward Summit in Nairobi, Kenya, where he joined African and global leaders in discussions on the continent's development priorities. The summit, co-hosted by Kenyan President William Ruto and French President Emmanuel Macron, focused on issues including energy transition, healthcare reforms, and strengthening African financial institutions. President Mahama took part in high-level discussions on energy and green transition initiatives, joined a strategic working session on African financial constitutions, and co-chaired a dialogue on transforming healthcare across the continent. On the sideline of the summit, he also held bilateral meetings with key international figures, including Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, United Nations Secretary General, officials of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and representatives of the International Fund for Agricultural Development. The engagement reinforced Ghana's commitment to international cooperation, economic transformation, and sustainable development. And that wraps up this morning news bulletin. Thank you for starting your day with us. For more updates, stay tuned to Ghana Talks Radio and follow us on all social media platforms. I am Deborah Adoso. Up next is the second segment of the Breakfast Show with Miss Esenam. Do have a good morning.
Are you ready to amplify your business or brand's reach and make a meaningful impact in Ghana and beyond? Partner with GhanaTalks Radio today to connect with a diverse audience across Ghana and beyond. Elevate your brand through on-air promotions and social media. Boost your brand during prime time. With Ghana Talks Radio, you can extend your reach across digital platforms. Ghana Talks Radio is not just a station, it is a community hub where your brand becomes part of the conversation. Join us in fostering connections, celebrating culture, and making a lasting impression. For customized sponsorship packages and enquiries, email contact@GhanaTalksRadio.com or call +233 202 544614. Ghana Talks Radio, giving the youth a voice.
Ghana Talks Radio wo UK abrochimemu era from Ghana mu ha the sound system which spinning machine papa every amana ne aba begu oman Ghana mu ha enti se we ye ayie we ye engagement we ye wedding we ye birthday party political parties are mo ye rally se mo ye asori a mo ye crusade so we bo carnival or any kind of event now we pe spinning machine papa e bo sound no mu e de dia ene me kanfo GTR sounds e de emawo ya wa live band nso a woto nsa e de frenya ye betimi ababeboa ama wudwumedi a wudie nso atimi aye kama pa ya wo enkan poponi mantemo anya aponchi hotel e ho pepepe e na ye butu odi an se wo be frɛ empanifo e wo 0546960510 GTR sounds emu de angaza
What do you want for breakfast? How do you want your breakfast?
English breakfast, French fries,
Koko Nikosi, alo komi kesheto.
wache.
Well, Gobe is the real deal.
Join us on Ghana Talks Radio. Let's serve you a buffet of breakfast.
From news headlines review, current affairs to social issues.
Entertainment, sports, and all the trending stories live on our mobile app and across all socials from Monday to Friday 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
With me, Pakwesi Omare.
Regina Bless.
Deborah Adoso.
And I am Esinal Fiagbedu. This is Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. This is Ghana Talks Breakfast Show, your morning companion.
Good morning to you once again, and you are welcome to the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show right here on Ghana Talks Radio. This is the second segment of the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. Remember that you are streaming live on Facebook at Ghana Talks Radio, on YouTube at Ghana Talks Radio, and also on X at Ghana Talks Radio. Do all to log on, send in your comments. We'll do all to read them to you. Right, the second segment, you know that we don't joke about this. We come along with knowledgeable guests who are going to be delving into the issues for discussion this morning. We have sitting right here in the studios Mr. Ganip, the big Stephen, a social commentator, and we also have Mr. Morris Donko, who is the NPP Communications team member as well. This morning, we are going to have a very interactive and a very insightful conversation right here on the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. Make sure you join us, send in your comments. We'll do all to read them to you back. Right. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and you are welcome to the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show.
Thank you. Good
Morris. Right. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. It's good to have you in the studios. It's the first time here.
Yeah.
Was it difficult getting to this place?
Yeah, difficult navigating the place, but
You didn't ask Google. I'll be digital people there.
I did, but then it was finding it difficult to identify the appointing the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's not on the map, eh?
Yes.
Oh.
But now that I think he's been here, coming here again, even if he's using the map, won't be difficult. That's how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
If you've never been to the place before, if you never searched for the place before, sometimes you find it difficult searching. You're getting the exact location.
Right, Mr. Debik, it's the same.
Nyame adom me hoye na wonso e.
Me hoye. Bibi aboko.
Nyame adom bibi aboko.
O daye.
Me daye ba.
That's it. Producer, why are you laughing? I'm trying my best.
If you need the onya.
You look good in black anyway.
Thank you.
Right, this morning there's a lot of issues trending from the NPP. This time around, they are saying that their democracy is under siege. Democracy and free speech under siege in Ghana. And this is from Baumia. And yesterday we saw a press statement from Dr. Baumia. Well, before we get into it, let me read the article. Former Vice President and New Patriotic Party presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Baumia has criticized what he described as a growing pattern of intimidation against opposition members, warning that Ghana's democracy and speech are under siege. He cited recent incidents, including the arrest, detention, and subsequent release of social media user David Esando, who was reportedly picked up and after commenting online about the return of Dumso. He also pointed out to the remand of Kwame Bafo, Abronye DC, also known as Abronye DC, the Bono regional chairman of the NPP, describing the development as part of a broader trend of political intimidation. According to him, these actions undermine free expression and risk reversing gains made in Ghana's democratic governance. He said, I condemn in the strongest of terms the unholy collaboration between the executive, state investigative agencies, and some elements within the judiciary to use intimidation and harassment to silence members of the New Patriotic Party. Dr. Baumia further warned that those he believes are involved in abuse of state's power will be held accountable in the future, adding that the day of accountability will come. He urged party members and supporters across the country to remain resolute and continue holding government accountable, insisting that Ghana's democracy must not be weakened by intimidation or abuse of authority. We've seen Abronya being remanded for 2 weeks due to certain statements he made, and we've also seen David Esando also being arrested on Monday, but I think he has been released. Looking at these two people, looking at these two people in your party that have been taken up, how are you holding up as a party? Morris?
I'll say for the New Patriotic Party, we are trying our best to cope with this situation, because here we are thinking we are in a free speech country, a democratic country, where everyone is allowed to express their views, but then under this government you try to express your views and it seems your views are not, doesn't have grounds. It seems your views are an attack to the government. So let me understand how somebody could just comment and then you pick the person up. So you're not supposed to comment under government post again. Somebody makes a comment and then you just pick the person up. It doesn't make sense. So as for the New Patriotic Party, we would continue to hold the government accountable, and then when we come in power, are going to make sure that all those who assisted in this kind of attacks on our members, offering free speech, would be held accountable.
So that means that when you come back to power, you're going to make sure that it's more or less like a payback time to the people who held those people accountable as well?
It's not going to be more like a payback time, but we are going to hold them accountable in the sense that we are going to ask them the reason and the motive behind it, because it's a free speech country we are in. You can't just arrest anybody just because by their political colors. So they should make that make sense to us. Either right now, they make it make sense to us right now, or when we come back to power.
Do you know what Abronya said?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Let me read that to you. So this is what Abronya said. This was the comment he actually made.
Yeah.
He stated that the circuit court judge is very biased and always doing political cases, and that her rulings are wrong and full of grammatical errors. He also said that the judge is not a judge, but rather a politician who has covered your hair with a sack, claiming you are a judge. These are the comments he actually made against
And
the
then
judge.
what's wrong with the comments made?
But why are we dragging the government into this if these bodies are expected to be working independently?
And then he's a citizen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's expressing his views. He thinks what the judge is doing is biased. He's allowed to make that statement. So why do you pick him up? Although he's an independent body.
Mm-hmm.
But then he, as a human being, sitting there, thinks the judge is being biased.
So why are you not going after the judge, but you're rather going after the government, including the president as well?
Because maybe the ruling the judge gave was in favor of the NDC. And then everybody is allowed to their views. If I think the ruling he gave was in favor of the new of the National Democratic Congress, I would say that.
Right.
I'm entitled to my views.
I'll be back. Mr. Dubig, do you see our democracy under, let me see, attack or threat?
Let me start by saying that I don't subscribe to people being more mistreated or more treated because they spoke. I always encourage people to speak up when they have something to say. But freedom of speech itself is not sacrosanct. It is not that broad. It has limitations. Every right under the Constitution of Ghana comes with limitations. The fact that I have freedom to speak doesn't mean anything I say doesn't constitute a crime. And if somebody writes a press statement, somebody like Baumia, as astute as he is, write a statement saying that, oh, Ghana's democracy is under threat because somebody was arrested for false publications. He forgets that the democracy that we practice itself is based on laws. Democracy ceases to exist if there are no laws. And one of the laws under this our democracy, and this law has existed since the 1960s, is publication of false news and causing fear and panic. Which Baumia knows. The entire MPP knows. In fact, they arrested people and prosecuted people under this same law. It is nothing new. He said that, let me just reference what my younger brother here said, that it's a ruling of the court and he's a citizen of Ghana. He can say, he can have an opinion. Do you remember the Muntie 3? They had an opinion against Supreme Court judges in this country during the 2013-2012 election petition. They were cited for contempt and jailed. They had freedom of speech at that time. But under the law, they stepped out of the bounds of freedom of speech. So if you step out of bounds of freedom of speech, I won't cry for you. You cannot say a judge is biased, a judge is a political judge without evidence. If he has any evidence, he will be exonerated in court, right? He'll produce his evidence in court. You see, democracy is not the relaxation of laws. Democracy, it's not that we have laws, but because of democracy, let's not operationalize or implement the laws. It is not the relaxation of laws. It is the implementation of laws that is called democracy. Nobody can tell me that those laws are not on the books of Ghana. They are. If those laws are on the books of Ghana, who have we entrusted that a fiduciary role to implement these laws? Ghana Police is one of them. BNI is one of them. Iyoko is one of them. The judiciary is one of them. So if they are implementing the laws, what we can advocate is they shouldn't abuse their powers. Which I can agree. If somebody is saying that they are abusing their powers, maybe they arrested somebody, they didn't give him the right to counsel, and the person lasted more than 48 hours in their custody without taking them to court, I will understand. I would fight with you. Because I am a public advocate as well. I speak on platforms. One day I might say something and all my rights might be taken away from me. But if I say something wrong and I'm being asked to come and substantiate it, or I'm being held accountable to it, I don't have any business to complain. If I have an apology, I have to apologize. Come out and apologize and retract. You get it? But for Bawumia to be inviting TikTokers who have been perceived of doing wrong to his house, congratulating them and telling them to hit harder, it is why we are where we are today. People threatened the certain president and his wife. When they were arrested and released, Dr. Bawumia invited them, invited Fanti Comedy to his house. As a leader, you should be condemning such things. How will Bawumia feel if one day he becomes president and somebody sits on radio and tell him that they will kill him, kill his wife, burn them and put them in a cocoa sack? Will he be happy about it? Or is it because we want power? Anything that advance that should be encouraged. We are where we are because of some of the actions of our political leaders. Abronye sat on radio, insulted everybody from head to toe. When he was making committee members, when he was appointing his committee members, he gave Abronye a position in the communication committee. Are you not endorsing that kind of behavior?
So do you see his press release as an endorsement to the behavior?
Of course. What is it? What is it? He can be advising his people. When you go on radio, when you are speaking, when you are posting things on radio, in as much as we have free speech, make sure that your information is accurate. Don't publish falsehood. Rwanda. The genocide in Rwanda happened because of a misstatement, a reckless statement somebody made on radio. A reckless statement somebody made on radio. And look at what that country went through. I'll say it and repeat it time and time and time again, that democracy is not the relaxation of laws. It is the implementation of laws. Without the laws, democracy ceases to exist. So instead of saying democracy is under attack, why don't you put your people together, even organize seminars, workshops for them on how to communicate? Teach them the laws. Some of these communicators don't even know the laws governing what they do. The speeches that they say it is free, they don't know there are laws governing those speeches. Teach them these things and make sure that when they come on radio, their style of communication is sanitized. But one thing I need to say about the Ghana police is that if they know they will arrest these people and not prosecute them, they shouldn't arrest them at all. Because there are cases, Fanti Comedy, Adenta Kumi, say Opokwa, say Obama Opokwa, say Captain Smart in the past, Apia Stadium in the past, all under MPP regime. Other people were arrested under the MPP regime, and some people are being arrested now. If they arrest them and they know they won't prosecute them, they will not push the matters to court, so we find finality to the cases, they should stop. They shouldn't arrest anybody. That's what I'll have to say.
Right. Morris.
Yeah.
Do you have any reaction to what he said?
So the last this now is that he said something about Dr. Bawumia inviting TikTokers and then congratulating them for some things they did. And I want to say that that's not true. And then he doesn't have any evidence to that Dr. Bawumia invited TikTokers and congratulated them for such comments they made. I mean, we all know that they went to his residence, right? But how bad is it for you to visit your flag bearer after you've been jailed? I mean, it's nice for a flag bearer to come and see you that, oh, you've been jailed and then you're out, discuss some things. How did he know that Dr. Bawumia congratulated them for such comments they made? So I would like him to retract that statement. Yeah.
Okay. But under your tenure, we all equally saw similar...
Do you want me to retract? Do you want me to say something about it?
No.
Oh, let me say something about it.
What do you want to say? Let me finish with him.
Okay, finish with him.
But under your tenure, we saw cases of Captain Smarts being picked up, Kwapnas, Ansa, the host of Citizen Show on Accra FM. We also saw a mother, Salamatu Mohammed, a mother of 4 who was arrested for complaining or making a viral video showing her heavily criticism of the president over extreme economic hardship. All these people were picked up. Would you say that during that time, the judges or the government was working, the judges were working in a bit of the government? Would you say that?
Actually don't know what to say when it comes to that, because I actually didn't prepare for this topic, so I would like to save a comment on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Dwig,
okay.
You wanted to respond to that comment?
Yes. Let me read this. Fancy Comedy visited Dr. Bawumia's campaign office in Accra to express gratitude for support during his bail process.
But is that a congratulatory?
What is support? What does support means? When I support you.
To aid him.
When I support you in doing something, after you've done something, and I still show you support, even though it's wrong, what am I doing?
You're encouraging me.
So do I still need to retract?
But that is not a congratulatory message, is it?
When I show you support after you've committed a crime, in fairness, I'm endorsing the crime. When we are in the house, and you do something wrong to somebody outside, then you run into the house, and instead of your father chastising or disciplining you, cover you up, what is your father doing? Isn't he encouraging that kind of behavior? And when he after you return, he shake hands. You've done well. Did you watch some of the videos?
I'm asking.
Did you watch the videos?
I watched the videos.
Good. If you watch the videos, did he shake hands with him?
Shaking hands.
What did he say when he was shaking hands?
I don't remember. What did he say?
Do you remember Bawumia said that you guys should keep on doing what you're doing, keep on the fight? Did you hear that in the video? I did.
You did. Did you hear that?
Keep the fight. So you see, I'm coming.
The fact that you heard it doesn't mean that was what he said. The fact that you heard that doesn't mean that was what he said. And then what kind of father would allow would discipline his child outside? Every father would bring the child home and discipline the child at home. I mean, when they came to the campaign office, how do you know Dr. didn't discipline the child inside the campaign office or in his office?
But seeing this press releases alone could attest that he's encouraging the act, don't you think?
He didn't encourage the act. He supported him being released. Because Fancy Comedy doesn't have the finances towards push himself or bring himself out of the situation he's in.
So what you're saying is that he saved him out and afterwards reprimanded him.
He could have. Maybe he did that indoors.
But as it stands now, we don't.
I mean, when I say maybe,
he doesn't know.
Me, when I say maybe, it is wrong to say maybe, and I need to retract. But you can say maybe he reprimanded them in public.
So you don't have any evidence to the fact.
Do you have evidence that he?
I don't have evidence. So you don't have evidence to say that.
So
as it stands now, we don't know what.
So we don't know.
So
nobody knows.
So you see, one disingenuous thing about you communicators, political party communicators, is that you people think that whatever you say should be taken, but what other people say should be questioned. I'm telling you that based on the evidence on the ground, based on the evidence that we have seen, Baumia hasn't reprimanded anybody in public for me to see. So I have every right to say that based on me not seeing that alone, it means he has not done it. Now lie? Not true. If he did it, it would have been public. The statement that he is writing, why didn't he go to Ghana police to tell them? If Baumia wants today, he can walk straight into the IGP office and talk to him quietly. Why didn't he do that? Why is he releasing statement supporting Abronye and the likes, but cannot release that statement chastising them, rebuking their actions? Why can't he do same? It means he doesn't even have principles. If he had principles, he would have understood that the position that somebody is occupying, I'll one day get there. And if I get there and they're doing these things to me, I wouldn't like. So in order to be on a moral high ground, when it happens, let me first rebuke the people in my own party doing it. And when it gets there someday, I can confidently say that when my people were doing it, whilst I was in opposition, I told them to stop. You get it?
Yeah.
Last on Monday when I sat here, I made similar what do you call it?
Yeah.
Submissions. And I've not departed from it. I'm not for people being harassed. That's why in my first submission I ended by saying that if the Ghana police knows that they won't prosecute the people, they shouldn't arrest them. But it is hypocritical on the part of NPP and Dr. Baumia to want to benefit from the crime that people are committing, and then want us to keep quiet and not say anything because of democracy.
How are they benefiting from it? How is Dr. Baumia and the NPP benefiting from what is going on right now?
So if he wasn't benefiting from it, what was the purpose of having Fanti Comedy in his office? If he didn't win, if he didn't get any political capital out of it, then there was no point inviting or bringing Fanti Comedy to meet him in person.
See, that's what I said. I'm coming. Didn't prepare for it, because if I did,
that's fine.
I would have brought video evidence.
So it's
or
fine.
Evidence to back the fact that he was scrutinized.
So he said
in Dr. Baumia's office.
He didn't prepare for this.
No, I'm not.
But this actually,
easy. I'm coming.
It came out
this
of the blue.
is not about preparation. Okay.
No,
easy. I'm coming.
This
is not this is not debating. I'm not debating
what I'm saying.
You see, I'm not debating more. It is him who is having problem with my position. You get it? I'm not debating you. I'm not asking you for fact. I'm just telling you what I think about the issues. You get it? So it is okay if you don't have your facts, or if you were not prepared for it. Let me espouse my opinion. You get it? You can agree to disagree. I don't have any problem with that.
All right, let's proceed.
All right.
So we actually do this just to get your thought on it, simply because the news sometimes they come just like that, and we wouldn't want them to go away without we talking about it. So sometimes on the show we bring it up, we ask your opinion about it, but it's equally fine if you don't have in-depth knowledge on it. That is fine, and sorry for the inconvenience as well. But anyway, I think we had fun on that particular issue. Right, now moving on to the main topic for discussion, that has to do with teacher training allowance being scrapped. And the question is it a wasteful policy or a necessary support? One of the biggest concerns in Ghana, especially in the education sector today, is the growing backlog of unemployed trained teachers despite continued teacher shortages in some schools. And according to Africa Education Watch, more than 60,000 licensed teachers have remained unemployed since 2023, and describing the situation as a serious supply-demand imbalance in the education sector. Whereas we've seen the Minister for Education coming out to say that they are going to be allowing or admitting just 7,000 teachers out of the huge number of backlogs we have from the previous years. There's been a lot of talks, a lot of criticism on this particular issue, but the excuse, I wouldn't say it's an excuse, but the reason he gave as to why they can't employ more teachers is due to the fact of financial constraints. If we employ you people, we wouldn't be able to pay you. But the main issue here is teacher training allowance. But before we move on to the teacher training allowance, what is the problem of we having these backlogs? Mr. Dubig, is the lack of planning?
See, this is what you get if you play politics with everything. We've played politics with this teacher training allowance issue since 2016. Let me give you the background as to why it was introduced. See, the time it was being introduced, people were not interested in becoming teachers. People didn't want to go to the training colleges. So as an incentive to get people to go and ease their burden. For instance, if you go to the university, you are not entitled to anything. We give you, you pay your school fees, you pay for your hostel fees and all that. But in the training colleges, if you cannot afford to go to the university, then when you decide to go to the training college, then we can incentivize, we can give you some allowance so that it motivates you to even want to go.
So it's just a motivation.
That was the purpose,
to attract
people
into the teaching
sector. Right. Because at the end of the day, we needed teachers. Then it got to a time that they had automatic employment, automatic posting.
Mm-hmm. Once you are done with the training,
so even without the money, there was a motivation that even if you go to the training college, you will be posted automatically. Whilst if you go to the university, you have to carry your CV and go find your own job. So that automatic posting should have been enough motivation. Then an administration decide to scrap it. And trust me, that sector, that education sector, that part of the educational sector does not need allowance. It needs more infrastructure to develop the sector well.
Mr. Dubig, if the training allowance was paid to these people to attract them or motivate them to get into the teaching environments, why then do we have to scrap the allowance?
I already told you that as it stands now, there's already a motivation, which is the automatic posting.
That alone should be the motivation.
Of course. What else? You go to, until about 4 years ago, if you go to the training college, you come up with a diploma. When you go to the university, you come out with a degree. You get it? And then you say that now we are all doing the degree programs. Now training colleges also do the degree programs. Is it fair that I go to the university, pay my own school fees without allowance, pay the exorbitant hostel fees, finish, you go to the training college, you go to dining. They are giving dining. They are fed like secondary school children. Giving dining. When you take allowance, when you are done, you get automatic posting. All with the same degree. We are all getting the same degree. Is it fair? Is that not discriminatory? Is that policy not discriminatory? By the fact that I decided to go to the university alone has given me a financial disadvantage to the one who decided to go to the training college.
Because it's almost all this.
It's almost all the same.
The same.
The time they were doing diploma, fine. You say they will have to go to the university to top up before they get the degree. That made sense. But now we are all doing degrees. When you finish a training college in this Ghana, you have BSc in education. When I go to Winneba, I get BSc in education. So why does the person at Betco, Brekum Teacher Training College, getting allowance, whilst the one at Winneba doing going through the university not getting allowance? We can channel that money, that allowance, calculate the number of teacher training students that we have in this country, use that money to develop the sector, build their capacity to be able to teach and teach well.
So you're in agreement that the allowance should be scrapped?
Of course.
It should be scrapped.
It should have been done long ago.
All right.
But because we politicize issues, I've cancelled it. This person, and that is where we are today. There's been times that we were not able to even pay. We were struggling to even pay these teacher training allowances.
Right, Mr. Dubik, I'll be back. Morris, do you agree that it should be scrapped?
So I don't think it should be scrapped.
Why?
I think it's a necessity, right? Mr. Dubik says something about the teacher trainees going for dining. Mr. Dubik, do you have any idea how many times they are fed? Mr. Dubik?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how many
is it a
times?
rhetorical question or you want me to answer?
Yeah, I want you to answer.
I know they go for dining. I cannot tell how many times they are fed.
Once.
You are in the university, are you fed? You are in the university, are you fed?
No.
Are you doing a degree program?
Yeah.
Are they doing degree programs?
Yeah.
Don't you think that is unfair to you being in the university?
I think it's actually fair.
Why?
Can I make my submission?
No, you called me into your submission. You asked me a question and I answered, so you have to also answer mine.
Why do I think
it is a necessity and fair to you being in the university doing the same program as they are doing, you not being fed, they being fed, they getting allowance and you not getting allowance?
You see, most people who go for the teacher training education or for the teacher training program, the teacher training program is actually not something that is attractive, you know. It's not something that these current Gen Zs would actually buy into. Or every Gen Z wants to go to university, wants to go to Lagos, wants to go to the tech. Nobody is that willing to go to these teacher trainees.
But was it made for Gen Z?
It wasn't.
That started since 1960.
Since 1960, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was made as a source of incentives to attract people.
To attract people to get into the teaching environment.
To get into the teaching environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it made this with this allowance, it's leveled the playing field between the rich and also the poor, because now the poor can also, you know, go to teacher trainees allowance colleges and then get some allowance to take care of yourself. You know, going to school alone, you need to do research for assignment purposes. You need that allowance to, you know, supplement yourself with data to do research and stuff, because Wi-Fi in teacher trainees colleges are not even good. Even at universities, they are not good. We are not giving allowances. We are good with it because what do we call it? School fees are more expensive than theirs. You understand? So they need the allowances to help them in the research to make the teacher training schooling more lucrative for students too.
Mr. Morris,
yeah,
you are in the university.
Yeah.
A year, let me say you are paying about 4,000,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay for, is it thesis? You have to pay for, you have to prepare for your project work.
Yeah.
All of that, you have to do research.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay for data. Mm-hmm. You have to pay for Wi-Fi. And looking at someone paying lesser, you mentioned the person is paying lesser, and the person is buying data and then all of that. Is it fair?
To me, I think.
Is it fair to you? Because I am paying 4,000.
It's not fair.
I am going to pay for hostel fees.
The fact that it's not fair doesn't mean we should take away the allowances of teacher trainees. You know, these are one of the most important things why most students or most young adults still go for these teacher training schools. You understand? So I wouldn't sit here and say that it's fair. It's never fair. But then you can't also say that we should scrap it because somebody in the university pays more and somebody is paying less, so you need to scrap it. I mean, it doesn't. So what? Yama will be into what? The engine free will be answering.
But how different is the university from the teacher training?
It is because I think the teacher training they sleep there's like a secondary school, right? And the university, the teacher training is more around like a secondary school program, dining, like a secondary school type based. You understand? Unlike the university has like free roll. Yeah.
So, from your submission, if I'm getting your submission, it shouldn't be scrapped.
It shouldn't be scrapped.
It shouldn't be scrapped.
Because students depend on that allowance for their daily, day in and day out activities. It shouldn't be scrapped.
It shouldn't be scrapped.
No.
That'll be your final
on
that part. Right, Mr. Dubik.
See, there's a challenge with how my brother is talking this morning. I have a challenge with it. You see, if I have money to pay teacher training allowance, or if there are problems in that sector, do you think that the basic thing I would do is dole the money out in the name of allowance? Go and see how deteriorating these teacher training schools are. Go and see. And ask yourself that if we had cancelled, or if we decide to cancel this and dedicate that funds, we cannot develop these teacher training schools better. We can. For me, I'm trying to get any single important reason why you decide to give teacher trainees allowances. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I have always had a problem with it, and I'll continue to have a problem with it. Not necessarily because the university students are not getting allowance, but because there are problems there that we can use this money to fix.
Would you say it's a misplaced priority?
Of course. And you see, because we pay them allowance, the central government must now decide the number of students they can admit in a year. That is the quota system. Remove it. Abolish the quota system. Let the school admit as many as they can. Nobody goes to the University of Ghana, tells them the number of students they should admit. Nobody goes to Kenya University, tells them the number of students they should admit. The fact that we have shortages in Ghana, shortage of teachers in Ghana, should be the reason why we should abolish the teacher training allowances, admit more students, and then make sure that we have adequate teachers to teach our students. Go to some villages. One teacher is handling 3 classes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if we didn't have the quota system, and everybody that passes the required the requirements to get to the teacher trainings are admitted. Look at the number of teachers we'll be producing, and tell me if these issues wouldn't be solved. And let me tell you, and you're here for man kwana teacher training no. And yes, you 4 months on kwana university. There are university students that I know, I've met, I've interacted with, that came to me and told me that, Mr. Dubik, I beg you, I've paid half of my fees. I need half to top up so I can register for the next semester courses. And here for university. You get it? There are equally people who cannot afford the fees who are still in the university. And there are equally people who can afford the fees and more still at the teacher training colleges. So this is not a justification. You get it? We can set up a scholarship fund where if we say your CGPA is above this level, you can go there as a teacher training, apply for the scholarship and get some. But to say we are giving you allowance there, abba,
Right. Mr. Donko, should the allowances be specialized, just as Mr. Dubig has mentioned, that if you were brilliant but needy students, that is when we will give you these incentives for you to support yourself? What about that?
So I don't think it should be specialized. I mean, everybody is supposed to enjoy such a good policy, right? It's not supposed to be limited to brilliant but needy students. You understand? Everybody is supposed to enjoy this kind of policy. Now I feel like Mr. Dubik is more of an NDC communicator than a social commentator, because let me understand why a government would spend 292 million on sanitary pads and then would want to scrap the allowances, want to scrap the food of a teacher off the table.
Right, let me clarify something. The government didn't say that it actually wants to scrap this. This is a proposal from Eddie Watch that they see the allowance as wasteful. So this is not from the government. It's from an individual.
Yeah. Right. So why
those people are also NDCs, huh? Eddie Watch is an NDC because I'm NDC.
It's a non-governmental organization.
I communicate more like an NDC. So,
Eddie Watch is a non-governmental.
No.
And a civil
because
society.
He said that I communicate more like the NDC. Eddie Watch is also NDC.
Let me hear from Mr.
Eddie Watch is having an issue with the allowance. If they are trying to say the government is finding it difficult to pay the allowances of students, so they should cut the allowance. And doesn't it make sense enough for the government to stop spending money on the sanitary pads and invest that money in paying for the allowances of students? Does it make sense? Because the money the government is spending on the sanitary pads is more than the money they're spending on the allowance. You understand? So I think everyone should just sit back and then rethink their decisions.
But we have a backlog of teachers. Would you say that it could be because of these allowance? That is why people are actually going to the school. That is why we are having that huge number of trained teachers back at home.
So imagine you scrapping this allowance. You are saying that it could be because. So imagine you scrapping it. Do you think you are going to have that huge number of teachers? Like, who do you think will be interested in even going to the teacher training college?
So if we scrap it and we don't have much people registering to go to the teacher training, can't the backlog we have from 2023 be posted?
You want to scrap it and then bring the backlog from 2023?
Limit the number of people who are going to enroll into the teacher training school because of the allowance. Because if you go to school, you are getting...
So you are saying that allowance is the reason why the 2020 teachers are not being posted?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that could it be that is why we are having much number of people going into the teacher training school? Is it because of the allowance?
I don't think it's because of the allowance, it's because maybe the school fees is cheap. Yeah. So that could be another reason. It just can't be because of allowance.
Okay. Mr. Dubig.
Yes, madam.
If we scrap the teacher training allowance, would it limit the number of people who would buy the forms or even be interested to go into the...
No way.
People will still buy forms.
It will even increase the number of people which are admitted in the schools.
That is if they scrap the allowance.
Yes. You
see,
why
would they increase?
Before I answer your question, let me address something. You folks think Accra ni Kumasi na Ghana. You guys think that Accra ni Kumasi na Ghana. That's the perception of young Gen Z for now communicating or radio. That's your perception. That's how you think Ghana is. Ghana is all about Accra and Kumasi. And because you sit in Accra and your parents can afford pad for your sister, so we should scrap pads. You think it is not necessary that a girl in my village, Menshia, who cannot even keep herself clean when she's in menses, for that reason she doesn't go to school for 7 days while she's menstruating, is something we should trivialize and politicize. I've seen poor people, I have seen poor people people. I have lived with them. I have experienced them. I know what they go through. So if you need more education on these matters, get it. And when you come and sit on platforms like this, don't make such comments. You have no idea how girls suffer in these villages before when they are going through their menstrual cycle. Life goes beyond, Ghana goes beyond Accra and Kumasi. So when you people are talking, make sure that you factor those in the hinterlands. Don't just criticize a policy because it is not your government introducing it and you find something. There are MPP people, MPP folks that goes to the villages and donate pass to them. There are MPs on your side of divide, on the MPP side, that put together NGOs to go to the villages and donate these parts to the girls. So if it wasn't necessary, why are your own people doing it in their own small way? And I think if the government steps in to do it on a larger scale, it is bad. That's one aside. You see, I am saying that if you look at the training colleges and what they offer and what universities offer, it is the same. You get it? In order to expand the training colleges so that we don't even put quota system, because at the end of the day, the government will only pay allowance to what the number of students they can afford, right? So that communication will be sent down to the schools. Meboa. So maybe Betco, I like using Betco because I have lived in that area before. Brekum. They will send a communique to Brekum and tell them that this year admit this number of students. They do it through the Ghana Education Service. And if you go beyond, that is your business. You have to employ within the quota they've given you. You have to admit within the quota they've given you. So remove the allowance. Let a lot of people enroll. So there were times, you see, when they were doing, the campaign, the 2024 campaign. You remember the young girl asked Baumia why she has not been paid the entire time that she was in school, her allowance, right?
I saw that
Did the girl stop schooling because her allowance didn't come? I have a nephew, Kevin. He completed nursing training school in Tamale. I've said this in this studio before. Not all the years that he was in school, he was never paid allowance. He didn't stop school because the allowance wasn't coming. He didn't even go to school because he was going to earn allowance. He went to the school because he felt that is where he can go. That is the kind of school that aligned with his visions as a person. So he went there. There were other universities in Ghana. Why did you choose Legon? You chose Legon because that's the school you want. You chose the course that you are studying because that is the course that you want to study. People will go to the training school, the training colleges, because they want to be teachers, because they think that automatic posting is there for them. That alone is an incentive. If you do education at Winneba, when you are done, nobody posts you. You have to go find your own job. But when you go to Besco and do basic education, when you are done, you are posted. Unless you say where they posted me, I don't like. So this policy, you see, I understand my brother because his party took a stance against it. The party MPP took a stance against it. That we can't cancel teacher training college allowances, and that motivated a lot of young people, a lot of people in school at that time to vote for your administration to come to power in 2016. But ask yourself, what were the challenges? Even Nanado himself will tell you that there were challenges with that, because when he came to power, he couldn't pay. And when I say this, you say I communicate like an NDC person. Edu Watch is the one saying. I'm speaking based on what Edu Watch has said. Is Edu Watch a branch of an NDC?
I don't know about
when they were praising your administration, when they were praising you for free SHS, did you say they were NDC? But today they say something, I'm saying something and telling me that I'm NDC, I'm communicating like an NDC person. NDC people are they not human beings?
Right. Mr. Morris,
Yeah.
we have a backlog of teachers. How then do we solve that?
So, with the backlog of teachers, I think that government need to, put in more infrastructures to accommodate this backlog of teachers, and then send most of them to the rural areas, because most teachers don't like going to the rural areas. So I think sending most of these teachers to the rural areas is going to kind of solve the backlog.
Mr. Dubig.
Yes, madam.
What will be the solution for this?
See,
before I read the reforms Edward proposed.
You see, he even said that most teachers doesn't want to go to what they call the rural areas. Why don't we scrap the allowance and then say that if a teacher is posted to the rural community,
you'll be giving allowance.
You'll be giving allowance for it. Why can't we do that?
That is a motivation.
Yes,
to attract the
teachers to go.
The teachers
to go to the villages.
To the villages to teach.
Because recently there was a communique.
Yeah, Linda Oklu.
No, it was about doctors.
Okay.
They said that the doctors who didn't go on the original posting wouldn't
will
be paid
taken
off
from the payroll. That was from the health minister.
Of course. So instead of paying that money to the student, we can decide that any teacher that accepts a posting to a community of a population of, let's say, maybe 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,000, we are going to incentivize them by giving them a monthly allowance. Because you see, the disadvantage is that the one in town, if you are teaching in Accra, you can sell something. You can do an additional job if you are in Accra. After school, you close at 3, you can go to the market. If you have a taxi, you can drive a taxi around. You can drive your Uber, you can drive your boat. You can even cook food and sell. What about the one at Menchia, my village? There's nothing. And all of you are on the same level of salary. So instead of using that money to pay for allowances for students, we can use that money to pay allowances for teachers who accept to go to the rural areas.
What about exporting teachers, just as we've seen the health ministry also exporting health practitioners to also practice in other countries? Can we do same for the teachers as well?
You see, health is different from
the
from teachers.
So
I don't want to downplay the standards of the Ghanaian teacher. For instance, if you export a Ghanaian teacher who is an ICT teacher to China, what is he going to teach them?
So you don't teach English.
A mouse. What is a mouse?
But I think the health it cuts across. Health is health.
Yeah, health is health.
But teacher, it varies.
It varies
geographically.
Of course, and they will come with specifications. Maybe when you say an ICT teacher in China, he specializes in robotics, manufacturing, how to make this mobile phone. Give an IT teacher a computer in Ghana to dismantle and reassemble. Let's see if he can do it. Even lecturers, IT lecturers in the university can do it. So if you are exporting them, what are we exporting? We need to build the capacity of teachers to the level that the world would start accepting. You see, nurses, we didn't just start by posting nurses. They started demanding for our nurses, right? So people were going through the back doors, finding jobs and living. So until that happens, the government can just start by saying, I'm exporting teachers. It will be a good initiative, but we have to build the capacity of our teachers first.
Right. So Edward proposed a reform and is calling for changes in how teachers are recruited. Instead of automatic recruitment after training, he suggests a demand-driven system where schools advertise specific vacancies. Teachers apply for those specific positions, and recruitment should be based on actual staffing needs in districts. He says this approach is used in countries like the UK and Canada, where teachers are hired for specific schools rather than being posted randomly. Mr. Morris?
So if I'm getting it right, he's saying that universities or schools should bring out vacancy positions if there is. Right?
Yeah, schools should publicize
it.
Vacancies. We need maybe maths teacher. We need school teachers rather than a government.
So how is that going to solve the backlog from 2023? Because it doesn't. I don't think it's going to solve that. How do you expect the teacher in the rural area to get a notice that, oh, there is a job enrollment somewhere in Accra for me to apply for? How do you go about it?
But how do university students also acquire jobs? Does the government post them?
How do university
students acquire jobs? Does the government post them too?
University students, I don't get it.
How do they acquire jobs?
After you graduate from this university,
you go and lobby for
how do you
work?
Acquire jobs?
You go and lobby for work.
Based on what? On vacancies, right?
Yeah.
So why can't we do same for the teacher training as well?
You see, the teacher training, we have what do you call it? A lot of backlog, right? And then we have limited facilities to contain these teachers. So I want to get the point clear that how are you expecting someone in what do you call it, FOSU, to get a notice that, oh, Legon has a vacancy somewhere. Legon has a vacancy, and then they would like somebody to, apply for it. Obviously, those in Accra will get the notice first and apply for those kind of jobs. What's going to happen to someone at the rural area? Already, their schools there are limited.
What about jobs in their district?
In their district, their teachers.
Yeah.
You
because
want them
he said
to
recruitment should be based on actual staff's needs in district. So if you're in northern region, you should look for a job in your locality. Why do you want to come all the way to Accra?
If you're a teacher, you look for another job?
No, that is you wanting to practice what you've learned from the training
That's
college.
teaching.
No, I don't think he's getting you properly. I think let me expatiate. The Edwards is saying that when you are done with school, per their proposals, instead of you automatically posted to a school, district would advertise vacancies in the educational sector in the schools that need. So, for instance, if Makati, there's a school in my area called Makati.
Yeah.
If they need a science teacher, they will come to the educational portal and post Makati something basic school needs a science teacher. You get it? Then because it is internet thing, it's not about somebody sitting in Accra and getting the alert first. Everybody will get the alert at the same time. Then we all apply. You come for interview. Just like, have you seen that the Ghana Health Service is doing that now?
Yeah.
The nurses, they are not, even though they will get automatic posting, they are required to go onto their portal, search for a district with vacancy, choose the district, go for interview at that district. The district will now recruit them and now send their list to the ministry for processing, right? I think that is the same thing Edwards is proposing.
Edwards is proposing.
So you look for a district with vacancies, not a district like the district they are in.
No, any district at all. You can apply in any district at all. You get it? Any district at all. It's not limited to your geographical location. Any district at all that you are in, you can apply to any district that has vacancy. So, for instance, you are in a Sutifi South district and there's a vacancy in Ablekuma, and you want to apply, you can apply. If you come for interview and you are picked, you are picked.
Do you understand now? Yeah. Does that work?
Yeah.
I think that the challenge that this is going to solve is that when you go to the urban schools, sometimes the teachers are overpopulated. You see that a teacher can teach 3 lessons in the entire week. He or she is done.
Yeah.
But when you go to the rural communities, a teacher will be handling 3 classes. 3 classes or not, maybe on one air class 1 teacher, on one air class 2 teacher, on one air class 3 teacher. Into the assignment to go class 1 for no call class 2. Over class 2 and no call class 3. No assignment. The cycle continues. So if we are able to do this, if the government adopts this thing that we are talking about, it means that by the virtue that you are posted to Ablekuma, where the teachers are overpopulated, you will now decide that, oh, Asutifi South, Menshia early vacancy or many science teacher, or many math teacher, or many English teacher. So some let me go there, let me apply for there and get the job. I think that it will save a lot of time and a lot of stress when it comes to these postings and stuff. I perfectly think that way, because when we school as a university graduate, nobody posts you. You search for your
search for the job
right after
also.
your NSS. You search for a job. When you are lucky and you find some, you are there. You
If
work.
you are lucky and you are retained by the company you had your
NSS with, you are there.
You are there.
I think that's how we should drive the conversation. You see, we always talk about the best practices outside this country, and then when you go to the UK, the Americans, the European countries, nobody posts anybody. You go to the school, but nobody will post you. Even medical doctors are not posted. You apply. If the hospital wants you, they will employ you. But here, we would post somebody and you tell us that I won't go to the village. So we have to solve these challenges. We must look into it, sit down as a country and put politics aside. I always say this: the reason why Ghana is not progressing the way it's supposed to progress is because of politics. This person will know that this is a good policy, but because it's coming from party A, I oppose it. That's how it has always been. And for me, I agree completely with Edu Watch. These things must cease. The allowance, we have to cancel it and use the money to a better.
You have to fight for yourself.
Of course, each one for himself, God for us all.
But can it be a way where they stop admitting teachers just to solve the backlog we have? Because it's a lot.
How? We can't stop admitting.
Because it's
teachers.
like
Is
you are piling up the problem and you are not solving it.
Too much human resource is not a problem. Too much of a
But they're
human
always
resource.
going on
You see,
demonstrations.
Too much of a
and
human
they're always
resource.
crying.
You see, we must come up with both solutions to tackle these things. And I don't think not admitting teachers it should be one of them.
We are going to admit them,
I think that
but should be limited.
even expanding our schools system should be one of them. You see, we don't have informal teachers. So there are grandparents, there are mothers who would want to learn English, basic English. We should have a place for them, teachers for them to teach them how to read and write. In Ghana, when you finish with BEC, now you want to be no. We should have teachers, even though you think that you can't go sit in the classroom and learn, they should be able to teach you so that you can run certain things, some basic things in your life. Why can't we do all these things? We can do all these things, but because of politics and laziness, I always say politics and laziness, we are lazy. We always want the easy way out. You get it? Saying Kenya sa anka allowance baby I may drink it, that's what kind of allowance one say. Baby I may drink it, say kind allowance one say. But because we don't sit down, analyze situations properly, we just decide that, oh, this is the easy way out. What's the easiest way to solve this problem? Sometimes the easy way to solve the problem is not actually the solution to the problem.
All right, Mr. Morris, what would be your last word? If there's a word you have for the government pertaining the teachers, what would you say to
So
them?
I would say vacancy doesn't mean funded. So vacancy, there will be vacancies, all right. A headmaster will decide to publish that there is a vacancy, but then it's going to cause the government to have not budgeted for that vacancy.
So lack of planning.
Lack of planning is going to increase corruption, because those with well-connected people are going to pay and get better schools, good schools. Those with no money from the poor background are going to get the schools in the northern region. How do you see equality and fairness in this? It doesn't happen like that. So that's going to be my last comment. The government should just stick to the one automatic system, and then should stop forgetting about these vacancy ideas they are bringing about.
And they also shouldn't scrap the.
They shouldn't scrap the allowance.
The allowance. You heard from Mr. Donko that the allowance shouldn't be scrapped, but we already know Mr. Dubig's decision on this. He's saying it should be scrapped. Well, I think that'll be all on this particular topic.
You think that is all?
Yes,
That's
is
not
all. That is all, Mr. Dubig. We have limited time. At this juncture, we are going to be proceeding to the next topic for discussion. And this is from South Africa. Xenophobic attacks has escalated. And government is set to evacuate 300 citizens back into the country. I think within the week, we saw one man also being brought into the country after the attacks. And we saw Ibrahim Mahama, the man of kindness. Is this something we are not doing right as a country? Are we solving this issue, or are we tackling this issue head on?
So as a country, I think we are failing our citizens, because if we have treated or we've put in place plans and actual policies to help our citizens will be interested in going to South Africa to look for greener pastures and be beaten on the streets just to leave their countries and come back together. So I think it's not something that it's something that the government needs to take a critical look at. Yeah.
It's not something that the government.
It's something that the government needs to take a critical look at, especially under this NDC government, because they promised the 133 shift, which was supposed to accommodate more people into the system, right? That means one job, 3 people, 3 shifts. So imagine if this thing is actually being done, who would stand up and say that, oh, I'm going to South Africa to go and find a job? Nobody, because there will be enough jobs for everybody. So I think the government should actually take a critical look at this and try to implement their policy. You
mentioned that the government should put out plans. What are some of those plans the government can actually lay out to save people from moving to that country?
So I think it's all about jobs. People move to other people's country to find greener patches. So
but is it only for jobs?
Yeah, because there is peace and everything else you need in Ghana.
What if I want to change my environment?
Change the environment. Why would you want to change your environment?
You haven't been in a situation where you just want to go somewhere and reflect.
So it doesn't mean you're going to stay there forever. You actually have to come back to Ghana. But here's the situation where somebody is going to stay there and work and then get something and come back home. You understand? So if there are jobs, permanent jobs for our citizens, nobody would leave for South Africa and be more treated like this.
But we also have some South Africans in this country also working. Does that mean that their governments also didn't do the proper thing?
Yeah, their government didn't do their proper thing, because I think South Africans are lazy. Why Ghanaians are hardworking citizens, they come and then decide to work in your country and then you decide to attack them because they are working too hard and they're taking your jobs. It doesn't make sense. I think their governments need to call their people to order.
So does that mean that the businesses we have, South African businesses we have, MTN is a South African entity. Does that mean they should also leave?
They can't leave because they are a major internet service provider to the citizens. If they leave, we don't have any better source Ghanaian internet service for our citizens to use.
But how different is it from them coming here to seek greener pastures and we also going there to seek greener pastures? Are we not supposed to be promoting international trade?
Yeah, we are supposed to, but I think the South Africans, I think the citizens of South Africa are taking it, are escalating things too much, because why would you brutalize someone just because a person decides to seek a greener pasture in your country? Why? Or because, or in the name of you are taking our jobs, and then the painful thing is that you see the video of the guy that you were beating. It wasn't a white collar job or something. It was just these normal street jobs, a cleaner that he was doing. Why would you beat somebody for doing that job. I mean, if you wanted it, you could have done that.
Exactly. So it's not like we are collecting your job.
Yes.
If you want to do it, come and do it.
Come and do it. You could have said, oh, just, pack your things and go. You didn't, the brutality part, you need to come in. So, my part, I think the South African government need to, apologize to every single Ghanaian. I don't know how they're going to do that, but I think this current government needs to demand an apology for the citizens, and especially those who are brutalized. Yeah.
Mr. Dubik, South Africa, they are beating our people.
Okay.
And now it has gotten out of hand. Per what I read, I learned one of their, is it a minister or mayor?
I know what I'm about to say. Would even entrench his position of me being an NDC more, but I'll still say it. Do we know that these people who went to South Africa traveled there when NDC came to power? Have they been there long before NDC came to power? You see, there are Americans who are in this country working,
yeah.
So traveling outside your country has nothing to do with the systems in your country, unless you've gone there to seek asylum, which is not what Ghanaians went there to do.
What is asylum?
Going there to seek an asylum, like saying that the government of Ghana is persecuting you, and then you need them to take you in. Like some are political victims, war.
Like Ken Oforiatta.
I can't say Ken Oforiatta is part of them because he has not sought an asylum. You get it? But there are Ghanaians who are outside the country. People say because I'm gay, the people in my country are persecuting me, so I want refuge in your country. That is how they seek asylum. Some of the reasons why they give in seeking asylum. But these people went there purely to seek greener pastures. There are people in Gambia. Gambia. Do you know what they do there? Ghanaians in Gambia, do you know what they do there?
What?
Kako.
And that is a greener pastures.
So you see that the problem is not whether there's jobs here or no jobs, or the system is bad or the system is no bad. It's not bad. Because you see, you cannot tell me that going to Gambia.
Mr. You should look at the fact that his term of greener pasture will be different from somebody's term of a greener pasture. So you shouldn't say that Kako. So somebody doing Kako is not a greener pasture. I'm
not saying it's not a greener pasture. I'm saying that it is opportunity where he feels that his opportunity, you get opportunity. That's why I use America as an example. I said Americans are in Ghana because they think that when they come to Ghana, they'll get opportunities to develop or enhance their lives. You get it? And that's why Ghanaians are in South Africa. Not because the system is bad in Ghana, not because the government has done something wrong, not because that when they want to live in Ghana, they cannot. But the point is that they went there for opportunities that they think will be better enhanced outside Ghana, which is South Africa. You get it? You see, South Africans know their problem. They actually know what their problem is.
But what is their problem?
And they are too afraid to confront their problems.
What is their problem?
So they are finding the little person to bully. The problem of South Africa is not their colleague Africans. The problem of South Africa are the white folks in South Africa who are now South Africans, who have seized their land. Check the percentage of land ownership in South Africa. Check the percentage of land ownership in South Africa. The white owns over 60% of the land in South Africa.
And they are not bold enough to sack them.
They are not bold enough to confront them. They are the people in like holding the country. They decide who becomes president. So because they cannot confront them, they found a little person to bully. If you wanted a cleaner job, do you think a Ghanaian would have traveled that kilometers to get there and get the job ahead of you? No. If you wanted to be the barber, the hairdresser, there's no way the Ghanaian would have traveled miles to get there and still see that job vacant. But because you don't want the job, when they came, the opportunities for them to do those jobs were there, and they did it. And they are doing it well. You see, the South African problem is not the people, it is the government. Are the people the police? Who gave them the right to go about asking people for their documentations? Why are the leaders of these xenophobia attacks not being arrested? If they were arrested, prosecuted and jailed, or left to go because they didn't commit any crime, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. But it appears to me that the South African government is enjoying all this spectacle, because I don't get it. How does somebody lead with a camera, goes there with lashes, flogging people, and you cannot arrest such a person? Why? And all of these, we want to turn it into a 24-hour. It's not a 24-hour economy or one district, one factory economy. One district, one factory problem. You get it? Whether we have 24-hour economy in this country, whether we have one district, one factory in this country, there are people in Ghana who would still want to travel outside Ghana. The fact that your country has developed doesn't mean that people wouldn't travel outside the country. People will. But as Africans, we need to open our doors to our neighbors. When there was a problem in Liberia, we set up a camp, gave them a full town in Kaswa. Today, when you go to Kaswa, there are Liberians who owns lands. They are the ones who will sell you the land. When there was apartheid in that same South Africa, Ghanaians gave South African leaders passports. The South African black leaders who were fighting against the apartheid, Ghanaians gave them passport because when they had the South African passport, countries were denying them entry into their country to find support to fight apartheid. So Ghana decided that any South African leader that wants a Ghanaian passport should just come. You give the person Ghanaian passport to help fight apartheid. Ghana is the reason why South Africa is free. Nigeria some Nigerians had to forfeit their lunch. Students on Kwaran, they donated their lunch money to help fight apartheid. So when it was South Africa, Africa as a whole came together and fought for South Africa. Today they say that they are free, so they don't need us in their country. The right thing to do is all Ghanaians should come back. My big brother's ex-wife, I don't know if it is the right word to use, but let me say this, is in South Africa, and I hope she comes home.
Is she also working?
Yeah, she's working.
So she's part of the people that took their job.
Yeah, she's part of the people that has taken South African jobs. She should come home, and we welcome her home. There are things that she can do in this country that will help her prosper.
But if we do things like that, are we going to progress as countries?
You see, we sit here and we talk about African unity. Africa must unite. How do we unite with this kind of element in our midst?
Right.
MTN is in this country. Anglo Gold Ashanti or Go First. It's a South African country.
Yeah.
DSTV until recently that they sold to Canal Plus was a South African country. Was a South African company. You see, we can tell them to go, but do you know how we can tell them to go? By seizing their assets. MTN. Government can seize MTN asset and decide that no money should be taken out of Ghana to South Africa.
But that is going to be very chaotic. If they also
Yeah.
find out that this is actually what we are doing, then I
We
think
don't-
it's
we don't-
even
we don't have to- we don't have to do a
it's
pay-
going,
payback.
yeah, it's going to escalate more.
You see, this is the reason why they have the nerves and the balls to do what they are doing, because they think Ghana will use diplomacy.
And we are using that.
Is it working?
Right. But in
Every single year, every single year, this thing happens. Every year, there are xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Until their businesses in other African countries start suffering, which will then hurt their economy. They will not realize that their country's existence depends on other African countries.
Right.
How many companies does Ghana have in South Africa? Granted, reparations, we can measure the quantum of reparations that comes from South Africa to Ghana. Even our city is stronger than their rand. Our city is stronger than the South African rand.
Right.
So we can measure the quantity of reparations that comes.
Okay.
We can decide that, okay, if 3,000 people are in South Africa, if 300 people are in South Africa, let them all come home. Maybe we are missing out maybe 100 million cedis a year, which I don't think will get, but let's just calculate that. Compare that to what South Africa will lose if MTN is not repatriating money to South Africa.
Right.
GoFace is not repatriating money to South
Right.
Africa.
Mr. Week, I'm back. In all of this,
Yeah.
we have not seen the South African authorities, except for we seeing the police officers trying to do something, but we haven't seen them being very massive or intense on this particular issue.
See, that's why
What should that tell us?
That's you see, the big was saying that he thinks the government is in support of what the people are doing because the government isn't showing, isn't trying
Enough
to call their
effort.
because I also think the same, because how can your citizens go on a brutality spree
Mhm.
without you the government calling people to order? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
So at what point do we call ECOWAS or UN in this?
I think they've done that.
Mhm.
They've called ECOWAS and then they've tried to contact their South Africa, what do you call it? South Africa, what? Foreign Affairs Minister.
Is it the ambassador?
The ambassador, yeah. So I think they've done that, but I think the government itself is not trying to.
Which is the South African
Government is not trying to, reason. They are just trying to. I don't know what the government is trying to do right now, because I think still they are just sitting there idle, and then their citizens are doing whatever they are. Mine is that our government should expedite the process and bring our citizens
and
back.
bring their So President Mahama has already approved
Yeah.
of that, and these people are expected to arrive in the country anytime soon. But evacuating 300 people from South Africa, they actually have job.
Yeah.
Perhaps they've lived all their lives there. Is that something the government is putting aside to compensate these people with if they come down?
I don't know that for a fact if the government is planning something for them.
But
I think it
would
wouldn't
it
be
be
a
a
bad
right?
idea
All right.
if the government plans something for them, because people are leaving their livelihood out of South Africa to come back to the country, and they can't just come and sit here idle. I mean, what are you expecting them to do? You need to provide them with something to keep them up in the system. So I think the government needs to put them on something small. Yeah.
Right. Before I move to you, Mr. Dubig, we have some comments on Facebook, and this is from Abdul Mutalib. This is mischievous. It says, today you care to know how Dr. Baumia will feel about people making fun of him. What didn't you guys do to him and Nanado when they were in office? Why were you, the NDC, think you were first class people and deserve respect, but any other person does? The English is some way, but I believe you understand that. This is from Collins K. Asante. The teacher handling 3 classes alone should tell you how important it is for the teacher trainee allowance. And this is from the Young Citizen. Fantastic submission from my senior Dubik on this teacher trainee issue. From him again, the teacher trainee needs a massive reforms at Same Kwache. Thank you so much for sending in your comments. We are about to wrap up. Keep sending your comments as we wrap up the show. Mr. Dubik.
Yes, madam.
As I asked earlier, would you suggest that the government should compensate these people they are said to be evacuated into the country? Should it be a sort of incentive for them because they are losing their jobs and then due to the attacks they have to come down to protect themselves?
I think compensating is the wrong word to use.
Okay. So what better word?
I would think that support is what I would say. The government should support them in easing them back in Ghana. You get it? Because they left their livelihoods there, and here they'll have to start from scratch. So I think that the government must support them. And I don't think that the government would evacuate them from South Africa without putting those things in place
before
them. Because the man who came first was supported and then later given a job by Ibrahim Mahama. So I think that these kind of arrangements can be done.
Ibrahim Mahama is not the government, so yeah.
But I said that he was supported before Ibrahim Mahama gave him a job. So if they come back if any of them is a barber, and they come back and I say I have a barber,
I'm saying that
I have a barbering salon.
We are focusing on the point that government should make plans for our citizens.
That is your focus because you're a politician. If the government doesn't support, you can get something to say. That is not my focus. My focus is that they come here, regardless of whether the government gives them a job or not, they are able to be reintegrated into the system and get something to feed themselves. So if a private individual employs them, it is the same. How does the government employ somebody if the person is not skilled in the area that the government needs? It's the private sector that will absorb these people. So for the time being, if they come to the country and they are not getting jobs, the government should support them until they get these jobs. That is what I'm saying. You can decide to go the political way. I'm not going that way. If that will make you get a vote, go ahead. But don't box me in that corner. I won't be boxed in that corner. I've been doing this way long time to know the mischief you politicians do when you want to box people in a corner that you want. Which I won't be there. So the point I'm trying to make is that the government should support them. Make things easy for them for their reintegration. You get it? If it means that they have to get some monies to start businesses,
right?
The government should support them. If it means that they can liaise with the private sector to get them jobs just like the other man has gotten, they should do it.
They should do it. Right. We have some comments on YouTube, and this is from Raphael. Reset was supposed to mean better governance, not recycled intolerance. A reset administration shouldn't be allergic to criticism. Leadership is tested by how it handles opposing voices. A reset administration shouldn't be allergic to criticism. So it's obviously the same comments repeated twice. Right. Thank you so much for sending in your comments, and thank you too for joining us on the GhanaTalks Breakfast Show. But before we leave, your last words, gentlemen. Mr. Moore.
So I would continue to emphasize that the government doesn't need to scrap the teacher training allowance. Poor students depend on it. The cocoa farmer's son depends on it. The cocoa farmer's daughter depends on it for his daily, for his or her daily activities. And then the government should also make sure that there are plans put in place to, give startup to the Ghanaians being brought back from South Africa.
Right. Mr. Ganib.
You all know there's cocoa scholarship, right? For cocoa farmers' children.
Don't start another conversation.
No. I'm just reminding us of
Mr. Dubik, please don't start another conversation.
Of the tools available to the poor cocoa farmer's child.
Please don't start another conversation.
Cocoa scholarship. It is there for the poor cocoa farmer's child. So I think that basically it was a great show. I enjoyed myself, and I think that my brother should keep coming. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't have much to say.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Morris Donko, and also Mr. Dubik Ganib for joining us on the GhanaTalks Breakfast Show. Thank you to our lovely listeners. But before we leave, I have a birthday wish for somebody. Happy 7th birthday to Malaika Lawal. Wishing you a day filled with laughter, fun, cake, and beautiful memories. May your new age bring you happiness, good health, and endless smiles, with lots of love from your parents and siblings and all your uncles and aunties. Enjoy your special day, Malaika. Happy birthday to you, Malaika. Do enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you too for getting interactive with us right here on the Ghana Talks Breakfast Show. We'll be coming your way same time tomorrow. Do have a lovely day.